12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines,
clock's run out. Time's up.
Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. Broken house, a smoking gun. On the run. On the run.
Welcome, Clyde Lewis listeners. The time has come tonight here on Aftermath FM. That's right. The moment has arrived. Possibly the moment of truth has arrived. What do you think the possibilities are of finding a little bit of truth somewhere? They say a man without a plan is like a ship without a course. It's only fate. It's disaster. I got the hair standing up on the back of my neck in the Santa Cruz Mountains tonight. There's a yellow moon rising over the redwoods. It's time to get down to business.
If you glimpsed the future, were frightened by what you saw, what would you do with that information? You would go to who? Politicians? Captains of industry? And how would you convince them? With data? Facts? Good luck. The only facts they won't challenge are the ones that keep the wheels greased and the dollars rolling in. But what if there was a way of skipping the middleman and putting the critical news directly into everyone's head? The probability of widespread annihilation kept going up. The only way to stop it was to show it and to scare people straight. Because what reasonable human being wouldn't be galvanized by the potential destruction of everything they've ever known or loved? To save civilization, I would show its collapse. But how do you think this vision was received? How do you think people responded to the prospect of imminent doom? They gobbled it up like a chocolate eclair. They didn't fear their demise. They repackaged it. It can be enjoyed as video games, as TV shows, books, movies. The entire world wholeheartedly embraced the apocalypse and sprinted towards it with gleeful abandon. Meanwhile, your Earth was crumbling all around you. You've got simultaneous epidemics of obesity and starvation. Explain that one. Bees and butterflies start to disappear. The glaciers melt. Algae blooms all around you. The coal mine canaries are dropping dead, and you won't take the hint. In every moment, there is the possibility of a better future, but you people won't believe it. And because you won't believe it, you won't do what is necessary to make it a reality. So you dwell on this terrible future, you resign yourselves to it. For one reason, because that future doesn't ask anything of you today. Yes, saw the iceberg.
My name's Jimmy. We're going to be talking about the crossing. We're going to be talking about weather wars. We're going to be talking about some of the things that are going on. Into the Microcosm is on the air. It's Aftermath FM. Journeyman. Oh, yeah!
I am here.
Excellent. Well, sounds like you're back. Looks like you got a board in your hand and you got your sunglasses on. You ready to come back. Looks like you're back from vacation. I got your back to your home. Got your home uniform on. You got your. I mean, what were you wearing in San Diego? Were you freezing? Were you freezing over there? Did you have to wear slacks or whatever?
No, it was actually hot over there. It was like 93 degrees on average. Got up to like 99 the day I left. So, no, it was good. I just wear my usual shorts. Mm-hmm. Shorts and a T-shirt pretty much the whole time.
Well, we had a whole bunch of stuff going on last week. And, I mean, I was literally, by the end of the week, I was beat to a pulp from all the ups and downs and the emotionals that we were going through on them shows that we went through last week. And I'm still waiting for the one caller to call back who was supposed to call a number and give us a report, and I hadn't heard back from her, and she was a little bit distressed the one night she did call in, and so didn't hear back the next night, and I've still been wondering about her. So if you're listening, you know who you are. 4 agreements, and you're supposed to make a phone call and tell us what they said, if they were any good, so let us know. What's up, Moose Girl? I see you over the YouTube chat. So like I said, my name's Jimmy. That's the Epic Journeyman. And it's Monday night. Mr. Rowe is going to be joining us next Monday night. Tonight's his birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Rowe. Many more, my man. Made it around the sun. Kev Baker had a birthday last week. There's birthdays everywhere. Happy birthday. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you, too. Wherever you may be around the world. And the world is coming apart, literally, at the seams, man. So listen, did you get caught up in any of this, the 2012? Did you get caught up in the LNN, the ELE, LNN, Discovery, and this going to slam into the earth, and they were showing you all the, the ways that it was going to hit us, and, how it was coming, and Richard C. Hoagland was on Coast to Coast saying it was a spaceship, and I mean, right. It literally just, but that thing, that was really one of the first ones where they had somebody that was actually laying it out, laying it out on the internet. Like, I think the guy's name was BP, the dude's name was BP Earthwatch. Now, I don't know if he's still around. I have,
I remember those videos. I saw a couple of those, yeah.
Yeah. So that was like his main thing. The main thing is that's one of the things he was talking about. So I used to go over and look. I used to go over and look at his videos and stuff. And I started looking at it, and I was like, man, if this is the thing, right? It's coming this way. It's gonna smack into us. At this point, at the point that that's the reality, none of this other minuscule shit matters at all. Like, none of it. No political shit, no arguments between the left and the right, no esoteric meanings behind the Super Bowl, all this shit. Okay, it's just at that point when you're about to be struck by some, thing coming at you from the space where you don't even know, you can't tell if it's coming. You just can't see it till it's too late. And even when it's too late, what can you do, right? It's right there, right? It's coming in, boom, it's going to hit you. That's it. What are you going to do, Epic? Can you do anything at that point?
No.
Right. So, at the point that you think it's all over, man, people start running for the hills. They start, maxing their credit cards out. People start going nuts. But for some reason, man, right now, all these things, if all these things were going on in 2012, some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight, if it was going on, people would already be in the bunkers, man. It would already be, remember that show, The Preppers, that used to be on? And
American Preppers, is that what it's called? Or was just, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
I watched some.
You remember how they used to, each one, like, they'd show a prepper, and then he'd have his thing, like this prepper thought there was going to be a biological attack, and this prepper thought there's going to be a financial collapse.
Yeah, all their different reasons. Yeah, right. I thought that was the most engaging thing about it was that they all had their different reasons why they were doing it. And most of them weren't the same. Every show was like a little bit different, like why they thought it was going to happen. Like in my case, when I was watching 2012 stuff, I was interested in going back to when I was a little kid about the Mayan calendar, ending on December 21st, 2012. But is that really right? Maybe they had digits wrong. Maybe it's 2021. Right? Or I got into Time Wave Zero, Terrence McKenna's Time Wave Zero, because he had this computer simulation using the I Ching, the Chinese I Ching, and it all ended at 2012. I mean, just using 1990s technology and computers, but everything ended in 2012. No matter what simulation you ran. Isn't that weird? Was there some kind of was that what the Y2K thing really was? Like that was that the flaw in the computer? His simulation was wrong because that's the flaw basically that made it look that way. I don't know, but I'll tell you, like all those things together made you look at it. Certainly, like everybody had a reason to look at it. I was never really worried too much about like a particular date, but I did think that there's no doubt that a cosmic collision is our gamma ray burst is our most likely extinction level event that's going to kill us, right? Wow. I mean, nothing you do about a gamma ray burst. By the time you see it, it's already torching the atmosphere. So adios,
and there's so many insidious things that the Earth can offer up that people aren't even hip to at all. Like all of a sudden, let's say, all of a sudden, an inner Earth gets hot. And it starts getting real hot down there on the inner Earth. And it starts to melt all those ice methane particles that are down at the bottom. And they start rising up to the top, man. And it starts turning into methane in the atmosphere. Man, the atmosphere catch on fire. That's it. See you later. Or there's just going to be a bunch of this invisible gas just coming out. Natural gas. When you smell it at your house, it's because they put something in there so you can smell it. If they didn't put that in there, they put that in there so when you smell it, you go, oh, there must be a gas leak. But if you didn't have that there and you didn't have a canary, you're history.
You just die.
You just die out. That's it. Whoop. Didn't even know what happened. Just everyone's just standing there, everything's normal, and then all of a sudden, boom. That's it. Everybody drops out because you know what? You're not breathing anymore, or the atmosphere isn't supportive of ourselves as a life form anymore because of what we're breathing in. I mean, of course, maybe there may be some fifth dimension aliens who came through on the Operation Paperclip pipeline that might have some remedies or be able to survive in that atmosphere as long as they're pumping gold into the atmosphere in particles flying around trying to create the same atmosphere they had before. I mean, that's one of the ideas that's out there, but I'm not a subscriber to that idea. What we're going to be dealing with mostly tonight is a bunch of stuff that's actually happening. But the reason that I'm all of a sudden looking at it again, and because I hadn't been, I mean, look. Everybody's heard the Planet X, Planet X, Nibiru, the Crossing, the Destroyer, I mean, it's been talked about, it's been written about, it's been, they drew about it on the walls of caves. You know what I mean? I mean, the legends go on and on and on and on and on and on. So why the legends if it's all just made up? In other words, so many people, so much time, so much energy has been spent over the ages. I mean, and when I say ages, that's what I mean, is ages, literally. Epic Journeyman, this topic has been talked about. So along what it was about 8 years, 9 years ago, people used to go, here it is, man, it's here, and they'd have all these photographs of it. And because whenever anyone brought up a photograph of it, there would be like 10,000 dudes jumping on there saying it's a sundog. It's a sundog, man. It's a sundog. It's a sundog. And, you started seeing this shit all over, two suns in Mexico, two suns in, Belgium, two suns in Antarctica. You know what I mean? So then there's a couple of dudes running around. I mean, then you have the Colburn Bible where it specifically talks a lot about the Destroyer coming in. You know, so you see this dude Marshall Masters. He used to do a whole presentation on Planet X, and he bases a lot of what he does on. I mean, I don't know what else he does scientifically, but I know he has something to do with the Colburn Bible because of that part in the story that talks about the destruction of what happens. So let's cut to 2021. You know, here we are. We've been through a million end of the world scenarios already. You know, we've seen the Nibiru's, we've seen the Sundogs, you know, we saw the Elenins, you know, other shit. You know, people are tired. People are worn out about it all. But, you know, unfortunately, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that intersect in this situation for me because because number one, when I see unprecedented amounts of money being given to people by the government, you know, I see all these things that went on during the thing, and you and I talked a little bit about at the beginning of the thing how they were boarding up windows and all this, and we were saying, why would they be boarding up windows if people are going to be sick and dying on the streets from all their shit? You know what I mean? I mean, so why are you boarding up? You think sick people are going to be bashing windows in and stealing shit? And they're moving the military in, and they're coming into New York with actual with gear on top of their rigs. They got actual 50 cals. They're coming in with their guns on there. I've never seen guns in America. You know, they started moving around. They started setting up borders. They started doing all this weird stuff, man. You know, and then you have the whole idea behind these people that you started to see all of a sudden disappearing off the scene. Like all of a sudden you see a lot of these A-list players. Where are they? You know, you saw them making some videos in their house or whatever during the thing, but you know, they haven't really reappeared anywhere, have they? You know, I mean, now they're talking about all this other stuff, and now we're talking about another potential for another lockdown right around this period of time, you know, October going into November. So this brings me to why, you know, we're even talking about this tonight at all. And that is because last week in some reverse speech we were doing, somebody in there, and I don't remember which guy it was, and I don't even remember what he was talking about, but I only remember this one thing, and that was October 31st this year. Now, why is that interesting? Well, it's because Halloween is on October 31st, is on a Sunday this year. So I find that to be, for me, whatever reason, it sticks out to me. It's significant for some reason. I haven't looked into the esoteric value of that. But, I mean, from a Christian perspective, it's the Lord's Day. And that's also one of the highest days for magic and for a lot of people. And things that they want to have happen for the year, this type of thing. So I find it to be esoterically interesting, but I also, a couple weeks ago in some of the reverse speech epic, when you were on vacation that Rio did, that there was, you know, he was, you know, President Trump in reverse was saying they were going to go into their holes and all this. And but they wouldn't be safe, and some, you know, it had to do with what the Bible said. So I'm not talking about the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. What I am talking about is this is Aftermath FM. Tune in, turn on, and find out every Monday through Friday right here at 10:30 Pacific. You know, we're having a big celebration going on right now. $79 for the year. Become a member. You go behind the secret entrance. There's a dark door. You have to knock on it. And if you got the right password, which is, I think it's $79 for the year, you'll be in there for a whole year. You'll know what the password is. But, so, I mean, that's a good value. So, and, I mean, the lineup here, look, David Knight, Kristan T. Harris, Mr. Gates, the Haterazzi's here, Steve Poyek, Slow News Days here, Billy Ray Valentine's here, Clyde Lewis is here. We're here every night. So, I mean, it's, you know, the lineup here is just super strong. Even on the weekends, you have, you know, what the fuck is wrong with people, and that show's funny, man. So it's not all just hardcore, you know, down to business talking about what's going on stuff, it's also other stuff too. And it's here all day and all night. No matter what, it's here. So come on down, become a supporter. Like I said, $79 a year. It's like $6 a month, I think, something like that. So I don't know. Figure it out. But anyways, it's a good value no matter what it is because, like I said, this is the place to be. Let's get into it.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. There behind the glass stands a real blade of grass. Be careful as you pass. Move along, move along. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart. Rest assured, don't get your money's worth. Really show, it happened all right. You gotta see the show. It's about to move. You gotta see the show.
So, there's a lot of things going on, ladies and gentlemen. We're in an extreme drought situation across the Southwest. And there's trouble. Literally, I got the hair on the back of my neck standing up. It feels like something's about to happen. But then, something's always about to happen, isn't it? That's right. Well, I've gathered a few pieces of information here, and we're going to get into them all, alright? Let's do them one at a time. Let's start here.
On a visit to Hoover Dam, it doesn't take long to see just how low Lake Mead, the man-made reservoir for the dam, has fallen.
Actually, 6 years ago when we were here, we recall the water was a lot higher, and we're actually very surprised on how low it's gone, how shallow it looks.
Just because I'm seeing these bath rings, I can tell you it's a significant drop.
To show you how significant, look at this picture of the reservoir level back in November of 2000, and pay particular attention to these intake towers. Now, compare that picture to what it looked like during our recent visit, when the reservoir was at a record low.
If you look at it on the reservoir here, you'll see that we're down about 158 feet from full pool. That's what we euphemistically call the bathtub ring. I mean, we've been down, creeping down to this level for quite some time, for the last 22 years.
Doug Hendricks of the Bureau of Reclamation, which runs the dam, gave us a tour to explain the problems the shortfall is causing, not just on the water supply, but on the power supply too, since the water is used to spin these turbines to produce electricity at one of the largest hydropower plants in the United States. Right now we're on the backside of Hoover Dam. This over here is the transformer deck. This is where once the power is made, it's sent out so that California and other states can use it. The problem right now is because of the drought, they're not able to generate as much power as they used to.
Under full reservoir conditions, we can generate about 2,074 megawatts of power here, enough for around 1 million residents. But unfortunately now we're down to, because of the lower reservoir conditions, we're only generating about 66% efficiency these days.
The Oroville Dam and others in California are suffering similar fates. The Department of Water Resources says Lake Oroville may get so low by the end of summer that the Edward Hyatt power plant there may not be able to produce any power. The hydropower problem is just one of many reasons the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, or NERC, has put California at a high risk of power outages this summer.
During some hours when electricity consumption is at its highest, or as the solar generation output is reduced closer to the evening hours, there may be a need for system operators to take certain actions.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Epic Journeyman, Ayda. So this...
I am here, and thank God I'm not still in California.
Man, listen, I'm telling you, listen, here's the thing about this, too. If you look everywhere around you, we're being told all this stuff about we should expect outages. We should plan for outages. We should have a generator. We should... Blah, blah, blah. I mean, the thing is like, even if nothing happens, we're going to bring into the conversation the idea of weather wars. Now, I want to just say, look at what's happening across the Northwest, okay, the heat dome, and then look at these drought conditions, and then look at the rain in other areas completely out of control. It's like I think it was Michael 13 said, in our group at Aftermath FM that it rained the hardest he'd ever seen yesterday in like 45 minutes. So you have
It's the worst thing that can happen, by the way, right? Because if you have a huge deluge in a short amount of time, it washes away the topsoil and the things that retain the water and make it go into the water table. It just rushes downstream and causes flash flooding. And meanwhile, all the topsoil and all the things that are meant to be there to retain that water into the water table get washed away. It makes it worse the next time. The next time it happens, it gets worse and progressively gets worse and worse until eventually there is no water table, right?
Well,
I mean, that's the problem.
Like this?
Walls of this building. Minutes later, people managed to crawl out. From the air, the destruction left by these deadly floods, almost unimaginable. Hundreds are still missing. Emergency workers found at least 50 survivors in Erfstadt, Germany, after rushing waters submerged neighborhoods. Nearby, rescuers and helicopters plucking survivors off their roofs. Entire towns devastated. Homes collapsed. Cars washed away. This man describing his family's desperate escape from the rising water. It was a matter of 2 minutes. We made it out the window, he says. The massive flooding hit Belgium and the Netherlands as well as Germany, where many areas received a month's worth of rain in just a few hours.
There's so many people dead.
But one mayor tonight fearing the death toll will still rise.
So many families that have lost a relative and families that have lost everything.
Rescue crews are stretched over hundreds of locations across western Germany, racing to find those people unaccounted for before more rain comes.
Very difficult fire season. Wildfires are burning earlier than usual in some places. It's also led to evacuations as firefighters try to contain ever larger fires in sweltering heat, with temperatures hitting the triple digits in some cases. William Brangham, who's just back from reporting out west, has our update.
Judy, the federal agency that tracks wildfires reports that more than 65 major fires in western states that have burned close to 1 million acres so far. More than half are located in Arizona, Idaho, and Montana. In Northern California, large blazes are burning in the Sierra Nevada hills and forests and right near the Nevada border. Thousands of homes have been evacuated. The largest fire in the country right now is in southern Oregon. It's known as the Bootleg Fire. It's already burned more than 150,000 acres. That's an area twice the size of Portland. There are 2 other smaller but still significant fires in the state as well. We look at the state of the situation there with Rich Tyler. He's with the Oregon State Fire Marshal's office. Rich Tyler, very good to have you on the News Hour, especially amidst what you're dealing with right now. Can you just give us a sense of the Bootleg Fire we know has been doubling in size every couple of days. This sounds like an awful thing you all are having to deal with. What is it like right now? What are conditions like?
Currently at the Bootleg Fire, they are reporting 201,923 acres that are burned, and 0%. Yes.
0% contained. It's Aftermath FM.
Good evening, folks. It seems that the world has become so distracting that what just happened on the sun is lost on it. If it was December right now, and we were on the other side of the solar system, we would be in very big trouble. Two massive solar eruptions, each capable of causing electrical disruptions on Earth, would have begun to arrive today, and could be sending our planet back to a time before electrified technology. These blasts went off the far side of the sun, as it were, and as we look from our July position here in the heavens, indeed, Earth just got very, very lucky. When solar blasts hit the planet, the charged particles in interplanetary magnetic fields begin to couple and interact with the magnetic field and electrodynamics of the Earth. The primary concern is the induced geomagnetic current. As the particles are creating aurora and ionospheric disruptions at the top of the sky, it causes phenomenal currents to flow through the crust and the mantle. These currents have taken out transformers, triggered surges in electrical fires, and in the greatest solar event in technological history back in 1859, it set telegraph wires on fire, as well as buildings. Today we don't have the same strong magnetic field protecting our planet as we did back in 1859. They already say that a repeat of that event to the electrified world today would set us back a great deal, and that's before you factor in that Earth's protection is fading. We are down about 20 to 25% in protection, and that means the activity of the sun is of the utmost importance. If those solar blasts had been facing Earth, there's a very good chance we'd have seen a global meltdown of the grids. That's every transformer, every grid, maybe even every wire, connected or disconnected. In the 1859 event, they unplugged the telegraph machines, but they stayed on, kept transmitting telegraphs, and then still caught fire anyway. If those blasts had hit Earth, there could be no factories to rebuild the parts, no trucks or vehicles to deliver after their ignition components and onboard computers get fried, no gas at the stations, no electricity for the pumps, no food at the store, no refrigeration, no water from the tap or your electric well, no phone, no police, no heat, no air conditioning. Got a generator? Hope it's not so loud you tell your neighbors you are ready to rock. That's if it didn't melt down in the solar event in the first place. There is no coming back from the major solar storm. That's why they call it the solar kill shot. All systems of civilization will fail, including all the components to rebuild it. This isn't like a hurricane or an earthquake. When everything's down.
Aftermath FM. Epic Journeyman. Are you that?
I am here. I'm getting my candles ready.
I know you're hiding under. I'd be hiding under the bed if I were you.
It's my stored foods, you know.
So what do you think about the deserts of Utah and say like the Grand Canyon? You know, used to be ocean, and that used to be the bottom of the sea. There's a log with a bump at the bottom of the sea, and it was right there. And when the Earth tilted to the position it's in now, all the waters poured out of the seas and moved over someplace else, and we got ourselves a Grand Canyon. So what are you thinking about the positioning of this new idea of this Nibiru? Because now it's coming back. Now some people have taken some shots. There's a shot that came out of Africa. There was some clouds, and because of the infrared nature of this Planet X idea, and the planet is floating behind our sun, and then there's going to be the crossing, which is where the rubber meets the road as far as the Planet X idea is concerned. So I'm gonna pull up the Colburn and see, and we'll take a little look at it about what it's talking about. But I mean, there's a lot around this Planet X. The black star. I mean, the invisible destroyer. You don't see it. You don't know about it. I mean, so many people from an astronomical perspective and from, people that are, knowledgeable about this type of thing, that's what they do for a living. That's what they spend their whole life doing. The way they talk about it, it doesn't seem like it's possible, that this thing can just come in, right? But all of a sudden, in the last 3 or 4 months, you see all this activity around stuff like, you hear this announcement, well, there's this new comet coming in, and it's about 1,000 times bigger than any other comet ever in the history of us knowing about comets. Well, I mean, something that's 1,000 times bigger than a comet, isn't that a planet? I'm just saying, I mean, how big is 1,000 times bigger than a comet? I mean, what does that even mean? But now they're starting to say, they start to admit things bit by bit, so at some point they have a plausible way of saying, well, we told you. We told you. It's just like, everybody was screaming about aerosol disbursement for all those years. People said, you're crazy. And then they came out and said, oh, yeah, aerosol disbursement. That's a good idea. Let's do it. We're going to start this program. And now, they call these clouds that are generated by these planes, they have a whole name for them now. So, there's, in the future, children are just think that that's the way clouds are. If there is a future.
Yeah, you got to deflect all that solar energy back up to cool the planet down, right?
See,
That's just
you
what we all
thought
do, right?
You thought they were trying to kill you, but they were trying to save you for real. But so what do you think, Epic Journeyman? Now, what did you hear about this Nibiru, Planet X, the Destroyer, the Homunculus? What the names go on, and they're terrifying. But I mean, at some point, the doom scrolling has to stop, and the doom has to actually arrive. And even if the perturbing of the planet and the destruction of the magnetosphere, we're already seeing magnetosphere weakening. We're seeing human resonances going off the charts some days. It's just there's so many things going on with this planet right now, and then you have all the social turmoil and upheaval going on at the same time, and it's everything's just around the corner. The financial collapse is just around the corner. The more lockdowns are just around the corner.
Well,
everybody's on.
If everything's about belief, right, and belief is the currency of the universe that makes things happen, then just get enough people to believe makes it happen. Right? I mean, so at some point, you want to be careful what you believe, right? Because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. I think that, there's definite evidence that the poles shift every 13,000 years or so. Maybe it's 26,000. I forget which it is. But it's there. It's you can see it in the seabed and the core samples. But that doesn't mean the Earth actually tilts on its axis. It just means that the actual polar, north turns to south, south turns to north. But I do think that it's an inevitability that some cosmic collision is going to happen. It's happened multiple times in our history. Absolutely. How is it not going to happen? It's going to happen. We're just a bunch of pool balls out in space, and something's going to hit us eventually, right? So that big pool table in space. But I think that what's happening now is tripping me out is that All these things are coming together at one time. We are running out of resources in terms of our very, hydroelectric generating capacity. We're at 66% at the dam there at Hoover Dam. I mean, that's the whole Southwest, right? What happens when that goes dry? There's nothing to back it up. What are you going to do? What, you're just going to import a bunch of oil or drill a bunch of oil or something to make up for it? You're not going to be able to do that. So we need to have a plan. And we do. I mean, they're working on ITER, which is a fusion reactor, and it's going to fire up supposedly in 2025. And then when it does, it's a star basically held together, a mini star, right, by this plasma containment field, and it'll power the Earth. It could power the Earth, But what happens if that containment breaks? That's a whole other dilemma, right? And then you have this whole philosophy that I think is interesting. It's been written by some sci-fi writers like David Brin, that we as sentient beings in the universe have a lease on a planet. That's the deal, right? We have a lease that expires. I kind of like it. I don't think it's true, but I think it's an interesting concept. That lease expires, and when it does, there's they just use the subduction method of the tectonic plates and just bury that old civilization and give it to somebody else after it goes fallow for a couple million years and give it to some other race. Is that what happened to us in the past? Is that what's going to happen to us again? I mean, it's a kind of cool idea.
2 dams collapsed in China earlier today. So there's millions of, 15 miles of highway are gone, 3 bridges, 2 dams collapsed. There's been raining and raining and raining, and it's just, the idea of there's just a weather war going on. It's like, really? Well, you're going to put a heat dome over the Southwest? You're going to make a heat dome over the Northwest? Well, tell you what, man. We're going to make it rain over the top of your country. How about that? I'm going to rain. I'll tell you what. I'll see your heat dome, and I'll raise you 2 dam-breaking rainstorms that happen in 3 hours.
Isn't that awesome, though, to think about that the Operation Popeye from the 60s in Vietnam, the weather warfare that we admitted to, that Kissinger was behind and engineered back in the day without any congressional approval, that very thing that we use as a weapon is the thing we're going to use for us to make the basin where the Lake Mead is, fill the reservoir to get the hydroelectric dam working again and deny the rest of the world their rightful reign. Because that's exactly what that weather war will do, is because we're going to need more water, not less water, right? We're going to need water in certain places to make this happen, to keep our industry moving.
Mm-hmm. Well, the idea that, there's an idea that that they can make it rain, and they did make it rain in Vietnam because they wanted the Viet Cong to have problems moving around on their trails, on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. So, but anyway, if you've proven to me and you've admitted to me that you could make it rain over in Vietnam during the Vietnam War, then I got one question for you. Why aren't you fucking making it rain where there's a drought over here? Why, where's the rain? You obviously don't want rain. The thing is, look, this ties exactly in. Look, what if the power went out? Let's just say. Think about all the people who live someplace where you couldn't live unless you had electricity. In other words, it's 130, it's 122.
Las Vegas, perfect example.
Right, it's 122 degrees outside. You got no air conditioning. Where are you going to be? You're going to be with the rest of those people. You ever see the people that live under Las Vegas? Yeah, that's going to be the smart bet. You're going to want to go down in them sewers, man. Because otherwise you'll be cooked to death, and it's like, unless you got water to grow your crops where they shouldn't grow. Like a lot of times you see farms and crops growing where they wouldn't normally grow because there's no water, but they pipe it in. Well, they're going to start cutting all that water off, man. All this stuff that they said all those years ago, those really lame things. Well, someday water's going to be like oil. And people are going, yeah, right, water like oil. Well, hey, man, have you taken a look around? I mean, the water, it costs $5 a gallon if you buy it by the bottle, man. You know what I mean? Those bottled waters, man, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I'll just tell you this. I did some work back in the day up in Sacramento for a company called Alhambra Water. And let me just say, number one, they just get the water from us the people, and then they turn around and charge you for it. Not to mention the fact that it's, maybe I better be careful. Allegedly, it was a company called Alhambra. But let me just say, tap water is tap water, and, filtered water is filtered water, and water is water. And if you don't have a way to drink, you are up Schitt's Creek. Wait a minute, Schitt's Creek's dry. You're up Schitt's Creek, you better have an ATV. Oh, wait a minute, that runs on gas. You can't pump it. There's no electricity. Man, it's just, it's one thing after another with this, right? So, listen, that the magnetosphere weakening, causing different, is it possible that these weather anomalies we're seeing is mainly based on what's going on electrically between the sun and the earth and the magnetosphere disintegrating and this and that? Or is it a man-made weather war with the people of the earth just down here, taking the brunt of it? It really doesn't matter, especially in China. I mean, you mow over a bunch of millions of people in China, they're just less people they got to deal with. They don't really care too much for the most part.
Well, we don't get the information out of there either. That's the thing that everybody needs to be aware of. Like, they are completely censored.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their own version of Google called Dragonfly that censors their internet. They have to go through VPNs and try to reroute stuff over there to even get outside internet. And what we get from there is highly edited. So do we really know? I mean, it's only our journalists that actually get the truth out, that somehow get embedded over there and are able to search it and get it out over here, that we see it at all. So we kind of are in the dark. I won't say we're completely in the dark. We're not, but we're not getting the truth out of there.
Everything.
So what do we know?
Everything's just about to happen. It's just around the corner. Trump's coming back next month.
I'm sorry, I got to laugh.
I know. Well, I'm just saying. It's all this shit. And everybody's on edge, man. Everybody's on edge.
Right. Conflict addiction. We might talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about it right now. Talk about it right now.
Yeah. So there's this thing called conflict addiction that people who've gone through any of the programs for addiction know about. And it's something that if you've gone through counseling in a relationship, you probably know about. And those are probably the only places you really heard it before until recently. Well, you haven't heard about it recently. You should hear about it more. And what it is this addiction to conflict where you get this adrenaline rush where no matter what, you always want to fight. You always just want to fight because you get that adrenaline rush. And so what happens is the people who are in withdrawals from their addiction, they do it all the time to get some kind of buzz. They don't realize that's what it is, but that's what it is, right? And so and people in relationships going bad, they always fight because it's a form of intimacy they can't have when they don't have intimacy, right? At least it's something. So they're addicted to that conflict because it's a substitute for sex and other things that are just fulfillment in a relationship. So those things have been weaponized because the outrage machine, the political outrage machine, used by Cambridge Analytica and people like that, and organizations like that, have targeted messaging that go in effect and target those people they feel are influenceable because they have other problems, usually addiction problems or substance abuse problems or whatever. They know who they are because they have all the data on them, right? And they get them into this addiction where they're constantly button pushing to get that dopamine hit. But it's not just dopamine, it's the adrenaline rush that comes with the conflict. And so what happens is they become addicts in the truest sense, more than any drug. And once the original PSYOP or whatever it was is passed, those people are still addicted. They're still addicted. So they're still constantly looking for something to fulfill that need. And that's what we're stuck with. That's why these people are out there demonstrating. That's why they're out there, in QAnon. That's why they're out there doing these things, because they can't let it go. It doesn't matter that the thing that originally was the reason that they were addicted in the first place to be manipulated is gone or faded. They still need that, right? And it's pervasive now. It's Frankenstein's monster on the loose, man. It is.
It totally is. And, there's another way of looking at that, too, because that's also a vampiric situation or a parasitic situation where people that are addicted to this energy that they need to get it, and they have to have it. They can't get through. It's like fucking getting a cup of coffee. It's like they can't get their shit done today because they need to go over and roust somebody, give them a hard time so they can suck their energy out.
That's totally true. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
There's people you meet that they're conflict addicted because the first thing they do is try to strive for conflict. They say something to try to get a rise out of you, to see if you'll bait you, right, to get something they can lash out at, because that's what they're addicted, right? And it's funny you mentioned the coffee thing, because that's so true. Like, there's whole industries, and this is one that's coming up now, built around that. I mean, a 7-Eleven is an addiction store. That's all it is. It's coffee, cigarettes, alcohol, and whatever else. It's an addiction store. You go there because you're addicted, and you win it fast. That's why you go there instead of the supermarket. You know, I mean, it was a prototype for this. But now we have social media and people with big egg brains and AI driven, trying to deliberately target people and manipulate them in mass, like fish in spawning, to go upstream. And once that's known, it puts in that schooling fish kind of way of thinking, and you're captivated by that, and you're swimming with the the fish, right, so to speak. Then now you're no longer your own person. You're caught up in it, right? You're caught up in it. So we're in a very dangerous situation, I think, right now. We're very dangerous, because I don't think it's letting up anytime soon. Like, they unleash something that they don't know how to rein back in.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying too. I've been asking this question for the last couple of weeks because it's bothering me, because people have spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of people have been killed, a lot of stuff has happened over the last 100 years to keep things in control, to keep everything under control. And I don't see people wasting all their good hard work and money all of a sudden to just give it up and let people just start tearing shit up. Like letting people just run over Europe and just tear it to shreds. It's not even the same place anymore in a lot of places. It's like what you thought about Europe, you're gonna have to go make a fake Europe over in Las Vegas and pretend you're there.
Right. The Venetian and the Parisian hotels.
Exactly. I mean,
exactly.
They got whole replicas in China of everything. You don't even have to come to this one. You just go to the one over there.
Epcot Center in Disney World, yeah.
Exactly. Disney World, there you go. The thing is, ladies and gentlemen, why? Why? You have to ask yourself. I mean, blatantly what's been going on with the thing for the last couple of years, with the situation, and it's coming back. What's been going on with that? That is so blatantly out of control. I mean, it's literally, they're going to have, at some point, they would have to have trials about how heinous what's going on is. That is so literally obvious and ridiculous. And everybody can plainly see it. It's as plain as the nose on your face. Yet, people they don't care. They don't care. Look, it's all there for you. Go look at it. Go look at all the information about it. Go take a look for yourself. Go take a look at the statistics about everything that's going on right now, leading up to this next situation where they're calling for the Delta strain. It's coming. So, it's going to come, so there's another thing that's almost coming here. So it's stressful. Everybody's on edge. It's like I'm sitting there today. I'm driving somewhere. I'm in the parking lot. I'm trying to leave. I'm sitting behind this car. So I'm sitting there, and 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 then, I'm starting to now go, man, what the fuck? And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, is this person, on their, texting or something? Don't know somebody's behind him? I mean, I'm not real sure. So I give my horn a little, I mean, just a real small little whoop, whoop, whoop. And some dude is walking up behind me. Okay, I'm behind this car. And this dude walks up. My window's down. This dude walks up and goes, hey, man, take it easy, dude. Take it easy, bro. Hey, bro, take it easy. I'm going, take it easy?
We're stuck at this light, right? What the hell?
I'm thinking to but the thing was, man, is I didn't see the guy over my left shoulder. I just tooted my horn a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But let's just say, instead of him saying, hey, bro, take it easy, he decided to come around and just punch me in the face. Because that's where people are at, man. Shit is like that right now. Like, I didn't do anything. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to do anything. You could just be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and some dude, and boom, and that's it. People are out of their mind. People have lost their minds. Go ahead.
that situation you just talked about happened to me in San Diego. Actually, Bonita. I was driving down there, and there's a pretty long light, and there's one guy in front of me, right? And so I'm waiting. You know, it's going to kind of a not rural area, but you know, semi-rural by the park there. And so I'm waiting, and the light changes, and nothing happens. Still nothing happens. I'm about to like do the little dip on the horn like you're talking about, and the guy behind me in a pickup truck zips out in front of the guy, hops out of the car, and goes up and knocks on his window. And he kind of smiles, like, "You okay? You know, you okay, right?" And then you know, it's all good. We missed the light. It's a long light. It's like 3.5-4 minute light. And then that guy, of course, he's in front of the line now. He leaves. The light changes. The guy still doesn't go. He doesn't go for another like 30 seconds. And I made the light on that second try. But the point is, that's not an isolated incident. That happened the whole time I was there in San Diego, and not just in San Diego. I drove up in North County, Riverside, all those places along there, and went to visit a bunch of people. And people have straight up lost their minds. They forgot how to drive. They don't know how. It was always bad in California. Like, you never signal on the highway. We all know that because people just cut you off, right? But no, it's like people don't pay attention to stop signs. They don't pension. They don't pension anything anymore.
Do you know how that started? The cutting you off? Because they started doing this thing. There was this thing down in traffic down in Los Angeles that if you put your blinker on, people will speed up and close the hole. They won't let you in, and it'll be like person after person after person won't let you in. You know, so then it started getting to be where people said, "Fuck it, I'm not going to use my blinker," and then that's when you saw this whole thing. There was all this shooting going on down in LA. Is because people were just cutting in front of people, and then they just follow your ass home. You know what I mean? I mean, the thing is, man.
Well, that's no joke. Yeah, they will follow you home. I've had that happen. Yeah.
No, man. When I was living in Venice, I came home one night. I was driving home. I come pulling in, and I happened to notice there was like a low rider out in the parking lot, in the apartment complex. Now, it's right on the beach, so the parking lot was literally on the beach. So I mean, nothing wrong with the lowrider there being there, but I just noticed it because it was, you know, it was a nice lowrider. So, and then so that right as I'm pulling in, this dude in like a black Jeep Wrangler, like some dude, you know, comes pulling in, and as he pulled up, you know, he looked down, you know, at the lowrider, like he was looking at who was in the car or whatever. And there was some beef or whatever, you know. They got pissed off because he was looking at him. Just looking at him. Okay, so then, you know, I see what's going on. You know, it's like, I'm out of here, man. I want to get shot. I go, you know, up in the place or whatever, and I'm packing out. I was actually leaving to move out of there. This was the last night I was there, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear these sirens, and I go look, man, and out in the parking lot is that dude's Wrangler, is literally on fire, and there's no lowrider. Just because he looked at the dudes when he pulled up. He didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that it was always kind of like on edge like that. What's different now, like that I noticed, was that people just forgot common driving skills. Like they don't, not even forgot, they just don't care anymore. Like you know, they go through the stop sign. If nobody's on their side, they just drive through. Or they think nobody's there. If they want to check their text, they just check it. That's what this guy was doing apparently in front of me. And it reminds me a little bit of Italy when I was there in the 80s, because back then, if you're driving around Naples, Italy, that is a life-changing event, man. Well, nobody pays attention to anything. It's like a roller coaster ride. That's kind of what's happened here.
Is all this shit just isolated events? I mean, all the stuff we're talking about, the weather anomalies, this thing on the sun, all the stuff's going on. The pictures,
society. Yeah, maybe it's not.
Yeah, the pictures from Africa, this idea of Nibiru, the stock market dropped 800 points today. The travel is going to be restricted. The travel industry is collapsing. Pilots are dropping dead. Pretty soon there won't be any pilots to fly the planes, so you won't be able to go anywhere. It won't be your fault. It's not that you're not free to travel. It's just that there won't be anybody to fly the planes for you. Why did they park all the planes out in the desert? Why does it look like they're shutting everything down? Why are they laying all those trucks off in Kentucky? Because they got no chips. Well, we don't have chips for these trucks. They're all done except for the chip. We'll be getting the chips sometime, but sometime in the future. But by then, are your trucks rotted to the ground? I mean, by then, are the mice, eating everything up. I mean, I'm just saying, 2 years from now or a year from now, what are those trucks? They were 2021s. Have you looked at the price of a truck lately?
It's freaking ridiculous, man. You can buy a house.
Dude, literally, it is so clear that they're saying you will not have a V8 or a V6. You'll not have a 6-cylinder or an 8-cylinder vehicle unless you got a lot of money. And believe me, the gas that you're going to have to put in that bitch is going to be $10 a gallon. Because they are full on going into this whole thing. It is like when you're on the roller coaster. It's like for the last, since the year 2000, we've been going. You look at what's happened to this country since 2001 until now. Go look at those people. Go look at Hillary and Bill, and go look at George Bush, and go look at his daddy. Go look at those people. Barack Obama. Take a look at those people, man. They've been in charge of everything for all this time, and look at our fucking country. Look at it. It don't matter what party they were. I saw a picture of them all standing together yesterday, and I looked at them all, and I just thought to myself, number one, they're just a bunch of old, decrepit fools now. Everybody says so much caught up in beating on these people that are half dead. These people are out the door. Soros, all these fucking names that have been rolled around. These people are history, man. You know, everything seems like it's coming apart, man, and I ain't even joking about that. I mean, is that how it seems to you?
It seems to me like the last time America was truly great, and it has not necessarily with the president, just what was going on at the time, was when the space race started and Kennedy was president, and then he was a great president, just, you know, he was a swinger, man. He was out there boning everything in sight. He had a sex addiction, but he was pretty good at doing what he did with the global stage anyway. And he started the space race, right? And we made all these technological advances that put America ahead. And that was like the last time. You know, Eisenhower before was pretty damn good too, but after the war. But after that, man, you know, Johnson did what he had to do. He was a freaking criminal before he became vice president. I mean, literally, he was a freaking criminal, right? I mean, you can say he did all these great things for civil rights and stuff, but he was atoning for the bad things he did before that. Then Nixon was freaking awful, and everybody's been pretty much, you know, leading us down this path of destruction ever since. Not that they're all necessarily meaning to, but this path towards globalization and homogenization is a path to, you know, eliminating things that make people different and able to aspire to something new, right? If you make everybody the same, what's a quote from The Incredibles, movie The Incredibles? If everyone's super, nobody is, right? It's a good quote, man. That's right.
Well, it's a big difference between natural law and civil law, civil rights and natural rights. Everybody's born free. Everybody's equal, naturally. You don't need the government to tell you what rights you have. You're born with them. You know, and the ones that they say that you have, they may not include the ones that may be important to you. And those seem to be all being whittled away piece by piece, chip, 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 making toothpicks out of logs, you know, every single day, just taking a little more of your piece, a little more of you, a little more of you. You know, sucking your blood, you know, blood, not literally the blood, but blood being the lifeblood or the energy flow that goes through you. The energy the energy that you generate. That's the blood that they want to suck. That's the loosh they want to bathe in. You know, and the thing is, like, where are we at? Because I'm not sure, is there anything anybody at this point can even do? I mean, what should we do? Because it seems like, if you were to look at it, it seems like they're putting money in a lot of people's pockets that they didn't really have before. Like, so lots of people are making more money on unemployment than they ever did in their shitty, fucked up jobs that they were working in. You think this is maybe the government's way of, you know, giving everybody a little something so they can buy shit and live it up, you know, while the time's, you know, available? Like, at some point they're going to say, okay, go back in your house now. And that'll be the moment where the, you know, happens. I mean,
well, you know, part of it, I always wondered, like, part of it's just to pacify people, like in the movie, in the book, Childhood's End, Arthur C. Clarke. When the aliens come, they sit there parked for 50 years, and they don't even come out. When they do come out, they're these demon-looking things, right? and they give everybody what they want, and it's like, and then they have this 50 years or however many years of just like total, everything's great, everything's provided for them. They can do what they want. They can pursue all their artistic pursuits, everything. Then all of a sudden people can't have kids anymore, and all of a sudden the word comes, well, your planet's slated for destruction, and this generation's the last generation, and enjoy what you got because that's it, right? And part of this that we're seeing is almost like that. It's like, well, okay, well, we give everybody what they want to survive comfortably, and you can pursue your artistic pursuits or whatever. And we're not quite there yet, but I mean that is kind of on the plate, And I think that there's maybe not anything wrong with that. Like if you provide universal basic income and set the floor, we've talked about that before, globally. Well, people will just go where they want to go. Like, I mean, if you opened the borders and did that, right? It sounds terrible to most people, but why wouldn't you go down to or go over to Cambodia if you're an architect? Why wouldn't you go over to, and so it would be this brain drain maybe in America, but you have the labor coming over to America to build things. You'd have the people that are already there that would be, have the influx of talent coming over to wherever they are in Bolivia or someplace. And so that form of globalization is, I hate globalization as a concept, the way that the New World Order talks about it, but the idea of being a global community isn't a bad thing. I mean, it isn't a bad thing. That's kind of Star Trek idea of money not meaning anything. You know what I mean? Like it's just you're based on, everybody's got a floor they have, and they build on that. And that's not a bad idea. That's the only way to really move forward. Until we get there, which we're not going to anytime soon, as long as politics are what they are. Now we're kind of screwed because we're fighting a global catastrophe. It's imminent. It's obviously imminent. When you dropped 120 feet of Lake Mead, it's imminent, man. 110 feet, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. And it's like, well, I mean, it's like that guy was saying. It's like Suspicious Observers was saying about that sun thing. He's like, well, things are going on so heavy and hot in the world that nobody even noticed that this thing happened, with the sun. But, I saw this thing that, people were feeling dizzy, like there's kind of physical effects that can happen as a result of what's coming in from space or how the human resonance is acting. Like lots of people feel some of this stuff when there's a directional that's coming our direction. But this one seemed like it was so big or whatever that there's just particles emanating all over the place. I mean, you were talking about the gamma earlier. It's like a gamma burst.
There's no fighting that. It's over, yeah.
Yeah, well, explain it a little bit to people. They might not know what gamma burst is. So what a gamma ray burst is I think that I think it was a Precambrian extinction where all the coal shell fossils are. We have these like 13-foot, sea scorpions and things like that. All these invertebrates that you can't find fossils for until they chip the coal away, and they see these monsters in the coal. Right, so 300 and some million years ago, whatever it was, they had this what they think was a gamma ray burst, and it came from a nearby star. What a gamma ray burst is what happens is when instead of going supernova in the normal way, as it gets ready to explode and go nova, it throws this ray of microwave energy just out like a beam, like a flashlight, in simultaneous directions, around it. In a really focused beam, and if you're in the path of that beam, it torches the atmosphere and everything around it. I mean, it's focused energy, like it's like a giant particle beam or something, right? It's gamma ray energy mostly, I guess, if I understand it correctly. But basically, the entire atmosphere of the Earth, when this happened, got heated to levels of like 900 degrees or something instantaneously on one side of the planet, and the whole atmosphere went up in fire. And was over 400 and some odd degrees globally, and just torched everything. So everything that was on the Earth at the time died almost instantly. Things on the facing side died instantly, and the things on the other side of it died pretty soon after. And the only things that survived were some things deep in the sea, these very small animals or things that were so deep down that they were somewhat sheltered from it, and they survived and respawned life on Earth. But the only reason we even know about it is because they find these fossils in coal shell, right? Because there's no bones to find. It's just when you chip the coal shell away, you find these imprints of these animals that all died at the same time. That coal shell is a focused death, basically, of all those animals. And that's what a lot of the oil reserves are too, that died in that gamma ray burst event. And so it happens instantly. If it happens, they say that you would see like a green glow if you're lucky enough not to die instantly,
or maybe we aren't lucky enough to die instantly. And then next thing you know, the atmosphere's torched. I mean, there's no getting away from it. You can't detect it. It's the speed of light, right? So by the time you detect it, it's already happened however many minutes or years or centuries ago even, and it just hits you all at once, and that's it. It's over. And so that can happen any second of any day, any time. So it's not a very comforting thought, but this thought about worrying about an asteroid or a comet, whatever, hey man, at least we can see those. By the time you see a gamma ray burst, there's no getting away. It's over.
Did you notice China was pretending like they were shooting missiles to divert asteroids, and there was a couple of these.
I did see that.
Yeah, there's a couple of these launches, and then I find it kind of weird that Jeff Bezos and then what's his nuts from England went up, Branson. And Bezos gonna go fly. Everybody's getting on their rockets and all this.
I gotta reiterate that, man, before I forget.
Go ahead.
I do think I'm gonna throw it out there because I want to be the if I miss, I'll admit I missed. But I'm telling you, it's a perfect opportunity for Bezos to fake his death. He's going tomorrow, isn't it? The 20th? Yeah, tomorrow. So tomorrow he's gonna fly up into space, or is he? He already has his $500 billion yacht out there and always support ships and all these things. It's a perfect chance for him to play Bond villain and just disappear. I mean, it's perfect, right?
Well, they're all disappearing, man. They're disappearing because, the Adam and Eve story that we brought up with this from the CIA document from the book that was banned about the what happens when the magnetic shift happens. But does the Earth itself shift? Is there a tugging? Is there a bit of tugging that goes on? I mean, what's the 3 days of darkness, and not in relation to the other thing, but more in relation to something sitting in front of the sun for 3 days because it's there now, the crossing. Like it's behind the sun now, but then now it's going to come in front of the sun. And that's when all hell breaks loose. That's when, everything starts to go, wow. The rotation stops for 3 days and 3 nights. The day the Earth stood still. It's terrifying.
I actually hope we have, if we're going to die in a cosmic collision or event like that, I hope it's a gamma ray burst or something that's just pretty much instantaneous, because the biblical revelation side of this is pretty horrifying, because it's going to be this gnarly disease. It gives everybody boils and kills like a third of the world's population, destroyed by fire. There's going to be this wormwood mountain from the sky that poisons the water when it crashes into the earth, and that sounds freaking horrifying to me, man. I'd rather just go up in a gamma ray burst, man, and be found as coal, slag, or shells 300 million years from now. That's a much better fate than to go through this, because that sounds pretty. About as much as the worst as you can imagine, really. I mean, and then people would pray for death and not be able to find it. I mean, that's a pretty horrifying prophecy.
I know, well, man. Where did all this stuff come from? They just made it up. I mean, there's just too many of them, too many different stories all over the place. Is this the moment? I mean, when AOC said, "Hey, we got 13 years left," was she accidentally being revealing something she might have heard when she got elected, and she's on the inner circle because they never know when it's going to come? I mean, wouldn't it make sense? I mean, FEMA took over when all 50 states declared an emergency. FEMA never gave up control. That's why it seems the Biden presidency seems so weird, because he's really not president, because FEMA's still in control. No one ever gave FEMA, no one ever said, okay, emergency's over, here's control back. Okay, there's a protocol. All 50 states, never happened in the history of this country. But there was a protocol for when it did happen. So, yeah, Trump started acting weird, when all this took place, when FEMA took over. Started acting weird in those press conferences, started acting weird. Didn't really do anything on the way out, really. I mean, he made some noise, but he didn't find it a way to do anything. And I'm just saying, if he was president, he would have had access to everything the NSA had, so maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's something to this FEMA thing. Go ahead, Epic. What were you going to say?
Well, I dropped that link in there because the cosmic collision thing, and then somebody, John said in the chat over on YouTube that what's this obsession with Bezos and these phallic symbols? So you have to play this if you get a chance. It's the you'll see I dropped it in there. It's only a couple minutes long.
Okay. So here, let's do this real quick while I'm getting ready to do that. Here's George Carlin when he had his hair slicked back, and he's coming on. He's going to be on with Merv Griffin. And so here's George Carlin, and I mean, I tell you, it's a big club, and you ain't in it, man. He's in it, though.
Hi, how are you? Thank you very much, Merv. Thank you all. Thank you.
Leave him alone, then.
Really, it's impossible to pick up a newspaper these days without reading something about a protest or a march or a demonstration. This group is protesting another group's march and demonstrating against their bonfire and their rally. The pickets are against the pickets. They're picketing the pickets now. There's even one group that next week is having a parade to protest the fact that they can't get a parade permit. Now, that's kind of strange. It's really, it's getting just a little bit out of hand. The Hertz Rent-A-Pickets are doing wonderfully, of course. But the signs are what really scare you from time to time. Let's get out of Vietnam. Let's get out of the UN. Let's get out of the street. We're blocking the traffic. Ban the bomb the ban. Genghis Khan is alive in Argentina. He is not. Join the Mother's March on sore feet. It's gotten very strange. I even saw one guy with a sign that had nothing on it, absolutely blank, except down in the bottom it said, "Your grievance in this space, call Judson 4-1400. That's a little bit weird. But it is a little strange about these groups. We talk about extremism and radicals, and I thought to clear a little of the air about it, we invited a fellow with us here tonight who's a member of one of these so-called radical groups. He's the local chapter head of the John Birch Society. His name is Lyle O. Higley. The O stands for Old Glory. He's a veteran of 2 wars, a depression, and a Mets doubleheader. Let's give him a nice welcome, Lyle O. Higley.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The name is Lyle Higley. I'm the head of the local chapter of the John Birch Society. I'm what you might call your local chapter head. And that's a New York chapter that takes in New York, New Jersey, and parts of Idaho. Having a little trouble making up the zones, but we're working off an old Lewis and Clark map, you understand? That's not the only thing the Attorney General will let us have, quite frankly. Other than the area, we won the mixed polling league last year.
(626-999-4761). 626-999-4761. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. Is it coming? Black Planet X? Is it here? Weather wars. Are we fighting them? No way to know. You don't need soldiers. Lots of people talking about HARP being reactivated. I mean, they don't need HARP anymore for the most part. They have mobile devices that float around in the sea that you never will even see. I mean, some of the stuff that, like, floats around out there on the ocean, you'd be surprised about. 626-999-4761, 626-999-4761. Give us a call. Chris Isaac, Lie to Me, 1987. It's Aftermath FM.
Things that I'm doing are breaking her heart. Still she's pretending we'll never part. Lie to me, lie to me. I'm not trying to hurt my love, only trying to get by.
626-999-4761, 626-999-4761. Give us a call. Come on out. Let us know what you think. Is it over? Is it the end? Are you heading to the bunkers? Are you going? Have you took off? Lots of people are taking off now. I know. They're going to, New Zealand seems like the place to go if you got a lot of money. But if you're just a regular old American.
The book Earth by David Brand was written in 1995, I want to say.
Uh-huh.
He predicted all this. He's a sci-fi futurist guy, right?
Yeah. Hold on. I can't hear you, man. Hold on. Sorry about that. I couldn't hear you. Go ahead. So you were saying the book, something about the book?
It's called Earth, yeah. And
Uh-huh.
he predicted all this stuff in 1995. It was pretty good as a fictional book, but the reason I brought it up was that it focuses a lot on New Zealand. And everybody fleeing to go to different places and bunkers and stuff. And what had happened was a black hole, singularity, got away in an experiment very similar to CERN. They created the singularity, right, this black hole, and it got away. It dove through the containment into the Earth's core and was destroying the Earth from the inside out and was going to consume the Earth. And it talked about how life was in the future, which is like right around now. It's 21 something actually, but early. Like I forget what year it was, but it was early. It was only a couple years from now, really, basically. And it was pretty accurate, man. It was pretty accurate. I mean, it predicted the internet the way it was going to be, and how everything could be consolidated into one entity through AI, and the people have what they call peepers, which is like cell phones today, where they just took video of everybody. Everybody had their personal space that they were trying to enforce, and yeah, it's not far off at all, man. It's not far off at all. It was written, like I said, in 1995, and I think that it's not like we didn't see any of this coming. Is my point, I guess. Like it was always there. We always knew what the outcome was going to be if we went down this path, and it's just amazing to me that we didn't stop for a second and put a moratorium on our technology to let our ethics catch up with the technology, right? Because now we're screwed. We're trying to put a spot where we can't fix it until it's too late.
Is there a possibility that there was a moment that we're already dead and we just don't know it, and that's what the whole thing's, the Mandela effect and everything's about? Is that's
what that theory is? Yeah, that is what that theory is. Exactly what it is.
That
we're
moment.
On quantum immortality, and we did die. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
And so
that's part of it. It's not the theory, but that's one of the theories, right? Is that quantum immortality accounts for it, that we died back in 2012, a lot of people say, or we died back in the 90s sometime. And what happened was that we went in this branching, like the movie The Quiet Earth, it's a New Zealand movie, ironically, New Zealand movie, where that's what that movie's about. It's about quantum immortality. The people in it, they died, but they actually survived in the movie. Everybody else died. It was a CERN-like experiment that went wrong, right? And this is a 1990s movie, or an 80s movie actually, from New Zealand. And so that's the theme of that film. And so the premise here is that did happen, and we wouldn't know it, because if quantum immortality is a thing, we wouldn't know that all those branching paths we could have died on at any given time. That time you went left when you should have went right, the time you went off the road and didn't die or survived some narrow miss, you really did die. And you're in an alternative reality that exists in a parallel universe that accommodates that decision. And at some point, all your decisions get used up and you do die, right? But until that happens, to your soul, your body, your being, you're always alive, right? So to many of us, we did die back then, and that's the idea behind that philosophy. Well, I call it a philosophy. It's a theory, of course, and I don't necessarily buy into it. But movies like the Beatles movie Yesterday, right, is about quantum immortality. The movie The Quiet Earth is about quantum immortality, and a lot of people don't understand when they watch the movie that that's what it is. Like in the movie Yesterday, the protagonist dies. He dies. He gets hit by a bus. Right, but he has this alternate reality where the Beatles never existed. He just sings all the Beatles songs. It gets famous for doing it.
Yeah,
but it's about quantum immortality.
Yeah, that was a cool premise for that movie.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And John Lennon, spoiler, was still alive actually in the movie. Yeah.
626-999-4761. Give us a call. 626-999-4761. We're coming up on midnight. Don't forget, it's Out to Mouth FM, Monday through Friday, right here at 10:30 Pacific. Immediately following Clyde Lewis and the Ground Zero Boys. We're here with you. And it's the beginning of a new week. And, I figured we'd just get the bad stuff out of the way. We got some.
Well done.
Listen, hey. I think we got a big guest going to be joining us on Thursday, but I can't jinx it now. And Andrew Bartzis is going to be joining me tomorrow night right here in Epic Journeyman. So we'll be back tomorrow night with the Andrew Barsis, the galactic historian. Will be visiting. We're going to be opening up the phones. He's going to be taking your calls. So definitely cruise by for that. Stick around on Aftermath FM. It's a place to be. Like I said, David Knight in the morning, Kriston T. Harris, you know, Mr. Gates, the Haterazzi's going live. Billy Ray Valentine on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Clyde Lewis, Leo Zagami, Steve McCoyden. Man, the list goes on, you know. I mean, well, I don't know how much farther on it goes beyond that, but it does go on a little further. I just don't know who else is there. Oh, Conspirifacts there. You got Opposing Perspectives with James Ponder. Let me see. I'm just going off the top of my head, man. I'm just going off the top of my head. 626-999-4761. Come on down. Don't be afraid. Give us a call. Let us know what you're thinking about this. Is this the end or just the beginning? We don't know. We do know this, though. Smurfer girls in the chat room over at the usual place there. Brandy Lou's over there. Robin's over there. A bunch of folks are over there. Marky Boy from the UK. Mine's Jimmy. That's the Up to Journeyman. We're considering the dark future. But, you know, all we really have is today, so.
I know it was love. The next thing I got was you holding me close. What was I gonna do? I let myself go. And now we fly through the stars. But this night will last forever. I've been waiting for you. It's been so long. I knew just what I would do when I heard your song. Fill my heart with bliss. You gave me freedom. You knew I could not resist. I needed someone. And now we're flying through the stars. I hope this night lasts forever. Ain't nobody loves me better. Makes me happy. Makes me feel this way. Ain't nobody loves me better.
626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. Thank you, Smurf Girl. Appreciate that very much. 626-999-4761. Give us a call. Is it the end? Or is it just the beginning? The Doobie Brothers. Get it? No, no, no.
Very soon the time will tell. You telling me the things you're gonna do for me. I ain't blind and I don't like what I think I see. Taking it to the street. Taking it to the street. Taking it to the street. No more need for taking it to the street. Oh, no, no.
Let's see. 253. Hello. Hang on a second. We got another call. Hang on. 253.
Okay.
How are you?
Hi, I'm okay, Jimmy.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear you. I'm glad to hear you. Hold on a second. Let me get this going here. So I'm glad to. Yeah, I'm glad to hear you. We got a couple other callers joined us. So.
Okay, I'll hold.
No, you don't need to hold. I just want to let you know there were some other people there. So really appreciate it that you called back.
Okay.
Because I was wondering.
Yeah,
we
I wanted to be the correspondent like you designated, and I'm sorry I didn't keep my word. In a way, I was going to. I almost did. I tuned in the last half an hour and heard there was 6 seen people on hold, callers, so I thought, well, why try? But I'm calling in now, so I don't have much to report on my
Well, you sound good.
sobriety quest.
Well, you sound really good tonight, though. So it sounds like maybe did you get some fresh air and stretch your legs a little bit?
Oh, I do everything. I build mansions every day. I just don't know how to live in them.
Yeah. Well, you want
I can create the fresh air, but I'm still breathing the stale.
You want to check?
Stale
Let's
stuff.
check in and see what these other callers are up to. Okay, so here we go. Let's see.
Okay, I'll hold.
Okay. Hey, 817. Thanks for calling. Okay. And did you have something you want to bring up about what we're talking about, or did you have something else? Go ahead. 817.
It's Brandy Lou.
Hey, Brandy.
Call in and say, hey.
Hey,
Brandy. Great. Hey, Epic. Great show. Great content, you guys.
Hey, thanks.
As always.
Well, let us. If you want to come on, let me add you in Skype so we can hear you better. And
okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I'll add you in Skype here, and let me just get 312. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Yo, Jimmy, it's me, Robin.
Hey, Robin. What's up,
Brandy Lou?
Hey, Robin.
Hey, love you guys. I'm over here in Indiana right now.
Oh,
but,
nice.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry I've been missing Trucker
Listen to your
Tuesdays,
John
but-
Mellencamp songs, right?
yeah. Well, I used to live in, I lived in Southern California for 32 years.
Yeah.
And when I moved there in 79, I think it was like in the early 80s, we had like a severe drought. It started like I think it was like 81 to 83 or something like that, or somewhere in there, And I mean, that's considered like high desert. So it's really not anything unusual. It happens. It goes through cycles. So you're going to have droughts there. I remember Lake Kachuma like being practically drained, And I mean, eventually, it just happens. It's just cycles, natural cycles of life, depending on the situation that's going on. But anyways, I just wanted to say hey to everybody, and I've been enjoying listening to everybody talk. And people are going crazy. And, I was just listening to Craig Braden. He was doing an interesting thing on the Hopis and stuff and their perspective about it. And I found that very fascinating, talking about two paths. The upper path is where people, you'll see the depiction of the humans and their heads are detached from their bodies. It means these are people who don't know who they are. And then you have the lower level, which continues to go on. There's food there, and it depicts people that pretty much just live in a love, strength, and balanced mentality. So you're just seeing a lot of people just having nervous breakdowns right now is what it is, because they don't know how to handle their emotions because they've been so programmed.
Yeah.
So, just got to hold them up and, just do whatever you can to just be compassionate, but yet at the same time don't take no crap from them either. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And,
it's weird too.
you know.
It's weird too because there seems to be this correlation to the timing of the way that these emotions are presenting themselves recently. That it has to do with the addition of some sort of foreign substance into people's systems that's causing them to go crazy. The rest of the
Yeah, I think that's part of it. There's a lot of toxicity in the atmosphere, and so, they're just, they're blowing up all kinds of crazy stuff, meaning, that they're putting a lot of stuff in the atmosphere that would naturally not be there. And for me, I know a lot of people would have a different view than I would regarding what I'm about to say, but I think that we need to rein in the tech a little bit, because I think the tech is what's causing a lot of the issues and a lot of the problems, but I know that that's not going to happen. If tech was being used in responsible hands, then I think we could do wonderful things with it, because it is a wonderful tool. I don't have a problem with tech in and of itself. It's just that it's in the hands of people that are misusing it. And we need to be more, cooperative with one another rather than combative with one another.
I got to comment on that, Robin. I do. We've done a lot of research into these 30-year cycles, And it's definitely there. It's definitely there. There's no question about it. And so one of the things that arose out of this is the idea that maybe these 30-year cycles are planned. I mean, they're obviously planned to do different things with social engineering and whatnot, but maybe they're also planned there's an old saying back in the military when I was in the Navy, in the submarines, they say that technology is 30 years ahead of what the public sees. Right, so military technology is 30 years rather, ahead of what we see, and then there's another 30 years on top of that even the military doesn't see, and so it's this idea of a 30-year moratorium on technology. Somebody somewhere knows other tech that we don't get to see, and there's this 30-year moratorium for society and ethics and laws to catch up and protect people and make sure we can handle the technology that we get, so we don't pick up a particle cannon on a desk one day and destroy the Earth, right? So. And I think what happened was somewhere about 30 years ago, that cycle was broken, right? And now it's just out there. It's just everything's getting released out there. And it's not everything that we know, but that 30-year military gap is fed to the public now. And we weren't able to handle it, and we're not able to handle it. And what's happening is that you're right. We need that. We need that 30-year moratorium to go back and say, you know what? We're not able to. We were not able to handle social media. We weren't ready for that. At all.
Well, wasn't it Atlantis? Wasn't it Atlantis that I was hearing or reading somewhere where Atlantis destroyed itself because of its technology? Is that give me some feedback on that? What you think?
Well,
about that?
The story from Plato, there's only like one real one we know, and then a second one that may be true, but it's actually from what's his name, Edgar Cayce, and his visions of Atlantis. We get a lot of that from. And some other psychics of the era, but his story was exactly. They had this machine that almost like Forbidden Planet manifested their thoughts into reality a little bit and magnified things. It magnified things. It allowed fast travel and all this. It allowed all kinds of things. And so what happened was that in his story was that the people who were ethical, they used it right, and then the people who, for political reasons, essentially at the time, decided to use it to gain power, abused it, and when they abused it, they screwed everything up, right? And that's what destroyed the culture.
So we've been joined by Brandy Lou, and also Danny's here too. So welcome, you guys, and come on in.
Hey.
Come on in and
hey, everybody.
Yay!
Hey!
Yay!
Yay!
Hello, Danny.
I love you guys. Oh, hi! I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah. Go ahead, you guys. Go ahead.
Thank you. I love your voice. You sound so pure and innocent and beautiful.
That's you, not me, Earth Mama.
What? I'm your mama? What?
Earth Mama. Earth Mama.
Earth Mama.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 So what do you guys? So Brandy and Danny, what are you guys thinking about this conversation? I mean, have you guys given this any thought? Do you give any credence to this idea that you get the reality you think you want? So if you think it's going to be horrible, that you when the time comes, the horrible reality will happen to you. But if you think you're going to go like to the fifth dimension, when the time comes, you're just going to. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys give that any credence?
I don't think it's crazy. Do you think it's crazy, Danny?
I think you're going to go wherever you're convinced you're going to go. And if you have no expectations and you don't go to the white light, then you get to go to the good place. I think. I hope.
Yes.
All I know is that consciousness and energy creates your reality, and you create your day. You have to command your emotions. If you have no command over your emotions, then guess what? You're going to get what you deserve. And that's bottom line, because it's all consciousness and energy. And so what you put out is what's going to come back to you. It's like I wrote in the chat, I'm the beginning to your end, and you're the end to my beginning. It's all one in and of itself. And so we have to understand as human beings is that we can create our day, okay? And we can, think about we can look at things from many different perspectives, but it's all choice, okay? And it's all free will. And so you've been given a choice, and knowing natural law, doing no harm, living in love, being strong, and being a balanced minded human being is key in all this. But we've got people on psychotropic drugs. We got
Right.
people that think they're depressed when they're really not. You know, it's just that they had a. You know, I mean, there's you know, people are just humans are so pliable, and I don't know. I'm an Earth sign. You know, I'm a Taurus, triple Taurus. Okay, but
I'm
I
an
got also
airhead.
but I also have 5 fire signs.
Oh, my.
But then and then my rising is Cancer, and I only got 1 air, and I got 3 water in my birth chart. Just that's my birth chart now. But the thing is that I think that people are just so ungrounded, you know, and they don't know how to get
Yes.
grounded. It's like being on a merry-go-round, you know, and it's going really fast. It's going really fast, and instead of just, you know, saying, I just want to get off, you know, I just want to let it go. Just let it go. And because there's a lot of things that are not important, you know, and the things that are important, nobody's paying attention to. That's your peace of mind. That's compassion. That's love. That's being joyful, you know, all these things. And people have gotten so disconnected because of the number of reasons, you know. But the bottom line is, do not rent space out in your mind. Who's in your mind? That's the first question one must ask. Who is inside your mind?
That's good.
Are you thinking your thoughts? You know, what's going on? You know, it's real simple stuff.
Yeah,
But
what are you
have to
owning?
and you have to deconstruct everything, and you have to go. And so humanity's going through the process of cleansing itself, and it's not fun to watch, especially for those of us who've gone through the work already. You know, I'm in maintenance mode. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, I have to do everything just to maintain my own peace of mind, because nobody's going to come into my kingdom that I've been granted and dethrone me. Okay. I'm not going to allow that. But at the same time, I'm also very compassionate and caring and loving. And I don't waste my emotions on people who don't deserve it.
I think that's an ultimate balance that probably most people you encounter now can't accomplish. To be able to fully feel your own emotions and you know, allow them at the moment, but also be empathetic toward everyone else's, and realizing that yours are not above theirs.
That's correct. And that's a delicate balance, but it is accomplishable.
It
but
is.
See, but humans don't want to do the work.
Right.
And because everything is handed to them, and then there's this entitlement program that's running in the back of their mind.
Ugh.
But the ultimate thing I think that's really the big bugaboo is the fear factor. The fear program is running 24/7. And so until you get that out of the way, you're going to have problem after problem after problem. And so you have to conquer that fear, because it's all self-created. It's all this stuff is self-created.
It used to be like it used to be like love was the drug everybody was looking for, you know, but now it's like fear is the drug. There's like an addiction to it. It's like when there isn't anything going on, people are looking for it. They're searching it out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. Go ahead, Danny.
Oh, it was me. It was Brandy, I think. Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's just a lot of fear porn going on, and like almost an addiction to fear, and people can ride on that and get to where they're looking for the fear in something. But we've been told for how many years now, all these different things that are going on, all these horrible things that are going to happen. We can step out the front door and get bit by a bee and you know, die. I mean, silly example, but we just don't ever know. So we can't live in fear like that. Robin, I really appreciate
you have to be the gatekeeper of your own mind.
Yeah.
You know, but first you got to understand that you have a mind, and that it's there for a reason. It's a gift for you to utilize it and to help. Yeah, it's your mind.
Don't let
use it wisely. Use it wisely, you know?
Definitely. This is a wise lady, everybody. I've got to have dinner with this lady. She's very wise. You need to listen to her.
Well, yeah, it's not about listening to me. It's just
that's what's really great.
Sorry,
because
John.
We've been joined by, you know, 3 females who are here to give us the, you know, perspective that we don't, you know, we can't, you know, we can empathize with the female, but we can never understand what it means to be one. And so
what a beautiful night.
I know. It is, and so I'm just glad.
I'm wearing pink too.
Are you? I'm wearing all.
Yeah,
I'm wearing all black.
Well, we all have the masculine and feminine within us, and it's like they both are important energies to learn how to balance. Because sometimes I have to act masculine in certain situations, and in other situations I'm very feminine. It just depends on the circumstance. And so it's knowing what mode you're in. That means you have your own mind, and you understand that certain situations require whichever of the energies. But in reality, they're blended as one, but they have two distinct functions. And it's learning how to utilize them to our benefit so that all the beings that we encounter in our environment benefit from it as well. And these are important things for humanity to grasp and to learn, The hell with all this other stuff. These people are psychotic. It's like, whatever, Just don't come into my neighborhood, dude. I got a flamethrower, I'll toast your ass. I mean, it's like...
People don't want us to know that stuff, though. They don't want us to embrace the truth and that reality because we might be...
I don't care about those people. I don't even give those people any credence. I don't give them no authority. They have no authority in my world at all. And this is the other key. Is humanity needs to learn to stop worshiping authority figures because there's no such thing as authority, okay? If anything, you command your world. You've been given that gift. It's for you to do, and it's a work that you must incorporate within yourself. But first you have to deconstruct all the old programming, and that's a very painful process. I know. I've been there, done that. It really stinks. But you know what? Until you do that, you're going to keep going around in that washing cycle that never, gets to the rinse cycle. You're going to keep being in that dirty crap. And so, I don't know what else to say. I love humanity. I'm saddened, but what can you do? People are going to make their choices. But I think that it's all about the exposure to unhealthy programming, toxicity in the atmosphere, in the water, in the food. I mean, there's so much. Humanity's been under attack for a very long time. And now they've really pulled the trigger and things are really hitting the fan right now. And only a sane mind is going to be able to get through all this stuff. And a wise one always avoids extremes. You have to avoid the extremes. That's not benefiting you.
The iniquity that's been present since the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes.
Right.
And I mean, and then you hear people talking about reparations. I go, what are you talking about? This is so ridiculous. I mean, humanity has been enslaved for centuries. Why aren't we asking the important question? What causes a human being to want to enslave another? Can we have that discussion, please?
Right. What's going on there?
Does a human even want to do that?
Yeah, what's up with that?
That is an ultimate question because we're going to enslave our creations. We're going to enslave our robotic handmaids, right? We're going to enslave our our labor and divvy it out to these things we created. And in that way, it's life imitating art, and just like being created in the image of God, for us, we're creating something in our image. And at some point, we use that anthropomorphic ability to that we all have to imbue them with things that they don't have, right? Because they're just robots, right? But what's going to happen is I can totally see that becoming a moral crisis because they're already doing it in Europe. They're already giving robots human rights. That's not right. I mean, no pun intended, right? No,
that's been going on for a while, actually.
Yeah, since at least 10 years now.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a movie epic that was called I, Robot or something? Was it
Isaac
Robin
Asimov's story. It's a collection of short stories, and Will Smith did the movie with I, Robot. Right, and there's a bunch of stories from that, like Millennial Man with Robin Williams. That's based on I, Robot also. It's a story from I, Robot. That's probably the
Star
best story
Trek
there.
with the drones, with
right,
data.
Right, yeah.
I mean, how human
with data,
he?
right. Or the Borg.
Well,
we're becoming the Borg. There's no doubt about that.
The androids.
getting us used
well, I
to
was
it.
at my friend's house the other night, and they had this. I watched this program. It was about, what was it called, with Captain Picard. It was like Picard, Star Trek Picard or something, and they were talking about synthetics. Okay, synthetic beings, kind of like Data, but these were like, they were non-human, but they had all the attributes of a human being. I would recommend you take a look at it. It's an amazing series. It's called Star Trek Picard. And I watched, every episode, and I was just like, whoa, this is crazy.
I only watched a few. It hurt my feelings so bad.
Yeah.
I got to point out, this is a good point to point this out. The characters, Jean-Luc Picard is based upon the guy who went up in a balloon, right? Picard, and the guy who also went to the Trieste-2 submarine to the Marianas Trench. So the guy who went highest in the atmosphere ever is a French scientist. The guy who went down to the Marianas Trench also. So Jean-Luc Picard is based off his family, is famous for doing these incredible explorations. But here's the weird tie-in. Somebody we know today was married to Marie-Louise Picard, and that's Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon was married to Marie-Louise Picard, the daughter of the very Picard who went up, granddaughter who went up in the balloon, and daughter of the one who went into the Marianas Trench. How weird is that? I'm just saying, it's a weird thing.
Family affair. Remember that song? It's a family affair.
Isn't that strange? I mean, of all the things to have there, right?
So, Epic, tie that into Jacques Cousteau for me.
The fish swim in the ocean. All like land that abuse these fish. Yeah, no, it's
show offs.
I used to love Jacques Cousteau when I was a kid. We used to watch him every once a week. Yeah, but I hear that he was kind of like into some weird stuff too when it comes to globalist kind of ideology and stuff.
Totally.
But yeah, interesting man though. But he did some wonderful stuff, when it came to undersea stuff. That was pretty amazing.
My grandpa looks like 92% just like Jacques Cousteau.
Oh, really?
Plus maybe 30 pounds. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, he invented the aqualung, right? He invented the scuba tank and the regulator. It's actually the regulator. He co-developed the regulator, which made scuba diving possible.
Yeah, he did. So they could do those deep dives and stuff. And then he had that really cool, like, what did they call it? It was like a capsule they went into. I can't remember what it was called, but then they went down.
The diving bell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Remember?
And going down into the depths of the ocean.
Yeah, did you see the movie The Abyss? Have you ever seen that?
Yes. Yes, I did see that movie. It's been a long time, but I have seen it. That was scary.
Well,
what was the one where the guys were diving? The French guy and the Italian guy.
The Big Blue. The Big Blue.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and
I never remember the name of that.
And the energy.
Yeah. I am Enzo.
That energy.
Yeah, the guy from The Professional.
And then the lady, the poor lady had to eat all the spaghetti.
Yeah, I'm a free diver. I was a free diver back in the day when I was in much better shape. But I didn't dive down 300 feet like those guys. Went to 100 though.
It's just the way that water formed itself into a face, like right in front of the guy.
Oh.
It came up out of the came up out of the dive hole, and just sat there and went.
Oh my God!
Looked at him,
Yeah, you're like, ah! I get more like, I think it's more like I get like, what's that word when startled? I get startled when I see stuff like that. It's like it's not quite fear, but it's startled because it's like it just comes out of nowhere. And you're just like, ah! You're like, what the heck?
The pareidolia effect, right? Like like how you can see the face before the face even forms, right? So for people who have that ability to see things like that, I mean, really readily, those kind of things are more traumatic. Like if you see faces in tapestry on the floor, you're going to see that before it even shows up on the screen. Like, is this forming? It is going to get you more heavily than it did the people who it's just trying to affect in a general sense, right?
That's interesting.
It's interesting, man. I think it is interesting. It's something certain people have.
Does anybody here tonight ever remember Halloween falling on a Sunday before?
No. I don't remember it.
I wonder what...
Was it last year?
I'm not sure. I don't ever remember it falling on a Sunday before.
Saturday.
So
I bet it did, but I don't remember it.
It's trippy. It's weird, man. It seems strange.
Well, it had to at some point because it changes. Every year it moves up a day. But I don't recall it either. I mean, I always recall. It's weird how it's one of those days that's always been on a weekday to me. I mean, occasionally on a Saturday. You're right. I mean, I don't remember it being a Sunday just from a trick or treating.
Right, because when you're trick or treating, you wish it was Saturday so you could get more candy.
Because we're old, I guess. We just don't remember it being a Sunday, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it tripped me out when we were doing the reverse speech the other night, and the guy brought up the December or the October 31st date. Because it was a Halloween falling on a Sunday, and everybody's talking about November being this point in time where, you know, we're going to go back under these measures and all this other stuff, and that's why we kind of brought this up, because there's a time frame that goes along with this, that saying that in November there's some sort of an alignment that's going to take place, and that there's going to be some stuff going on, and so it's just like, you know, if it was a situation where we had, you know, 90 days to figure out what we were going to do, I mean, you know, I just think it's important that people, I mean, I know for me, you know, when I wake up in the morning, I'm happy to right off the bat because I woke up, you know, so I mean, you might not wake up sometime, you know, so I'm happy right off the bat. Right. And then like we talked about earlier, you bump into these people. I want to ask you guys this because we got about 30 minutes left. And this is an important question to me right now as far as the world's going, because I've noticed that there's been a couple of psychological tics that have been added to society, and one of them is projection. So, like, for example, when Hillary Clinton was guilty of colluding with the Russians, they went after Trump for 3 years saying he was the one that was guilty of collusion. You know, it's like when a partner is cheating on another partner, they usually accuse the partner. You know, when they say anything, the other partner is the one that gets accused of it, even though the person that's cheating is doing the accusing because they know that they're doing the cheating, that type of thing. So there's been projection going on, and there's been
exactly
gaslighting,
a lot of it,
to where people are saying shit to you, and it doesn't matter if it's not even true. It's like they act as though it's true, and they just keep going as though, and you're sitting here going, what? You know, I mean, I've literally been shocked a couple of times over the past few weeks, just at the level of people's just. I mean, it's like people are living in another world. I mean, I hear that
it's like out of touch with reality, and then you start asking, what is reality? Am I in reality, or what's going on? I get it.
Is it just some sort of
nauseous if you go into that, Brandy?
Is it some joke? Is it some
that hurts my brain?
Are we in
this is the first time in my lifetime that people questioned reality itself. Like, I don't know if this happened before our time, but there's never been a time when people didn't agree on what was real. Like people could have agreement or disagreement about like religion or something or something, you know, specific, but they're not even agreeing what base reality is. Like not even agreeing what base reality is.
The simplest things.
Right.
Well, in spirit world, there's really no time or space. And so, you know, people are struggling with the material and the spiritual, the unseen. I've been gifted with the ability to see. So I see a lot in the unseen realm. And I don't talk a lot about it because not many people can relate to me from that perspective. And that's okay, you know. But I do have a few people that I can go into that realm with and have wonderful, you know, conversations with them.
Well, you can go into that. You can go into that realm with us anytime you want. And the other thing I was going to say, well, do you see anything specific? Something coming up in the near-term future that you can maybe share with us that you feel comfortable with, or if not, that's okay. Just asking.
Well, I mean, I personally, you know, I see humanity as struggling with their own struggles within themselves, which is a very unnecessary thing to do. But yet for them, it's a very real thing. To me, it's very unreal. But for them, it's an exercise that they have to go through. It's kind of like, let me put it to you this way. When I was going through my deconstruction process, I remember, like, you know, like it's like trying to fight your way out of a paper bag. Well, you know how easy it really is to do that. But when you're in that mental state, it seems impossible. but yet all things are possible because all potential possibilities are within your mind. And so it's like being able to go dive deeper into the ocean of your emotions and your headspace and just be the observer and begin to see what's taking place as if you're watching like on a screen, okay? And recognize that none of it's real. It's just your imagination. And so you have to begin to sift through that and begin to understand what is benefiting and what is not benefiting. It's kind of like assets and liabilities, you know, because reality is there is no duality. There's just the illusion of a duality. And duality exists in this 3D realm. And so when you move outside of this, outside of that limited space called the 3D realm or the physical, the material, you get to access the other side. Now, the key is learning how to merge them both and bring balance to it within yourself. Hence, like I was saying earlier about the masculine energy and the feminine energy. But yeah, there definitely has to be a breakdown right now. Humanity's having a major breakdown right now. You know how individuals have breakdowns? This is a global breakdown. And because humanity has been under such suppression, oppression, trauma for centuries, and now it's all coming to roost. It's kind of like the toxins are coming up to the surface, okay? And so you have to see it like that. But then you can also see it from the perspective that when you create gold, what are you doing? You're heating up this soup, right? And then in order to maintain the purity, they have to go in and scoop up the scum, you know, in order to create a beautiful golden bar, right? And so it's like that. So all this stuff is coming up to the surface right now, and it's necessary. It's a good thing, really, even though, you know, it's uncomfortable and it's crazy, or it seems crazy, but it's okay. Everything's going to settle down. It's going to settle down. It's just, it has to go through this process. It's a must.
And most, you know, wisdom comes from hardship, right? So if mankind, if we aren't at a place, mankind, civilization is not at a place where we can rise above the current situation, evolve past what we've got going on here, nobody on our planet should go hungry. Nobody on our planet should be homeless.
No.
There's not a reason for it.
That's greed. That's greed. That's greed.
There's no reason for it.
And greed, and
Go ahead. I just wanted to say that. Go ahead. I think Danny's got something too.
Greed is a fear. And so everything, all of your emotion, when it comes to the nasties, I call them, is fear based. Okay, but yet you can also have an out of balance on the other side where you're like you're like head in the clouds all the time, and it's all positive and everything is love and light and peace and granola. No, it's not. It's all a balancing act, because every emotion you have has a purpose and for a reason. It's like me driving truck, right? I have to know how to maneuver my vehicle. Okay, I need to be able to read the traffic so that I can maintain myself in a balanced way while I'm driving along the loonies, okay? So, I mean, it's like that. So it's like you're riding, your body is a vehicle for your spirit and your mind and your will and your emotions. And if you're so out of touch with yourself because you're too busy outwardly all the time, you know, because I mean, it's okay to be outwardly, but not all the time. You have to go in to go out. You have to go inside of yourself so that you can check in with yourself and be the gatekeeper, okay, of your mind, and don't rent room space for all this other stuff, whether it's positive or negative, in order to tap into your authentic being, who you really are. And this is the things that these things cannot be taught. This is where, the mystery schools come in, and the initiations and that type of thing. It's not something that is, you can't just go to a university and go, okay, I want to learn how to go in to go out. It just doesn't work like that. You have to have this willingness to really want to know, who am I? What am I all about? Why am I having these thoughts? Is this my original thought, or is this something that was placed inside of me that I have to examine, observe, and then let it go? These are just simple questions. It's always asking questions. But I just see humanity is having to go through this deep cleansing reality right now, a reality check. It's like, yes, you are here. Because there was a time, Jimmy, I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to be in my body. That was being out of balance.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can totally relate to that. I mean, that's a lot of reasons why I drank, was because I was just trying to get away from whatever it was that was bothering me.
Escape.
Or or whatever.
Everybody's trying to escape. You cannot escape this.
No.
This is a spiritual doing. This whole breakdown is a spiritual exercise that's taking place. You cannot control it. You cannot stop it. It is what it is, and see it for what it is, and just relax, pull down your pants, and slide down the ice. And
this is a nice segue.
Yeah.
Lean into it.
It's a nice segue, because we were talking about the David Bowie video Black Star, where he knew he was dying at the time, right?
Yes.
So we have a good panel here. I'm curious, without everyone having to look it up, we're going to play it probably. But what do you think about that? I mean,
the one where he faked his, where he told everybody he was going to fake his death.
Well, it's really interesting. Yeah, like he
like Chris Cornell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
really interesting, and what you just said about trying to be away from your body. Like, he's saying he's going to be away from his body, right? Basically, and he's taking people with him, which is interesting in the video.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know if we'll get to that, but I thought if you didn't know, if you're aware of it, you know what it looks like. Maybe we can get some comments on it, because it's pretty trippy. We were just going to bring it up in the course of the show today.
Yeah, because of the Black Star aspect of what we were talking about earlier, but the destroyer. But I mean, ultimately, even metaphorically speaking, the destroyer comes, and then you have to. It's the phoenix out of the ashes. It's the gold out of lead. It's the, like I said. Yeah, it's like, if the world has to go through this thing in order for us to get to where we're going. Is that kind of what you're saying, Robin? Is that spiritually,
yes,
mankind has to go through this traumatic experience in order to get to the next plateau, where we meld what we've learned, and we meld the technology, and we meld our spiritual aspects of ourselves, and then we come together as a humanity, and we work together we don't need a reason to make the earth better. In other words, I don't have to think that I'm causing global warming for me to want the earth for people to come, when they come to my beach, to pick up their shit. People come over here from San Jose, and they're having a good time or whatever, and they go home and they leave all their shit on the beach or whatever. Trash.
Right. Well, I had a 10-year-old share that with me, and it was quite an aha moment for me. I was sitting at a coffee shop in Santa Barbara, and I was just thinking, I was like going, oh my God, because I had just come off of a long journey, and I was, it was incredible. But anyway, so I was very sensitive to all the energies and stuff, and I was just going, what are we going to do about the earth? And the little boy says to me, he says, you don't have to worry about the earth. She takes care of herself. Mm-hmm. And I just sat, and I just was like, this is a 10-year-old, right? And I was just like, thank you. Thank you for that reminder. I appreciate that. That brought great peace to my heart, and these are the things. It's like, the elders and the children, we need to listen to them. We really need to hear what they're saying, and not just in their words, but in their actions and in their emotions, and what they're doing, and pay close attention to them because they're always speaking. Speaking is not always happening with words. You know what I'm saying? We speak in many different ways. It's not just with words.
Listening even less.
Yes, yes, yes. I've had to learn to be more of a listener because I'm a big talker, man. I'll talk your ear off. Yeah. But
That's hard.
'cause I have a lot to say. And it's amazing because little ones are always wanting to share. I mean, when you see children just being authentic and they haven't been traumatized. Well, let me go back into this though. This is what I didn't want to go down that road, but talking about the trauma, though, what you were saying, Jimmy, is that the trauma has to come up because it's been held for so long. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think you can see, just in general, people are frustrated in general about not being able to get any kind of answers or any kind of solving of their problems, that they just problems just keep getting kicked down the road, pacify you.
The problem is you are the answer to the problem. You just don't know it.
Right. That's the thing is, like, when you look out in your backyard and you see like 3 acres of weeds that you got to get out of there, it's like you look at that shit, you just go, man, I'll do it tomorrow, man. I'll do it tomorrow. Those weeds will never go. The thing is, if you just did a little bit at a time each day, eventually the yard would be clear. The yard would be clean.
That's right.
So the thing is when we look at the world and we say, this world's fucked and I need to change it, we look at this whole world out here and it's just like that yard. We're like, fuck this. But the thing is people got to realize, man, everybody has the power to change the world, because the only way to change it is to change yourself. Because if you change yourself and everybody does it one person at a time, we could change the world that way. It's just not, we don't have control over anybody else, what they do, what they think.
That's correct.
I could be saying something to Danny, and Epic Journeyman could be getting offended by it because he thinks I'm talking to him, and I was joking with her, and he just misunderstood. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of dead ends with no solutions. The thing about this,
that's the toxicity at play. You see, because when you get offended, it's because you have a weak mind and you haven't done your job. You haven't cleaned it out. You haven't cleaned your mind out. You haven't cleaned your thoughts out. You haven't cleaned your emotions out. Okay, and so that's a natural response to that. That's how you read people. That's how you read things. Okay. There's a lot of people I would love to assist, but I don't assist them because then I would be interfering with their process. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, I totally do. And I mean, I could pay the karmic price for helping you out of some situation that you need to go through. And if I go ahead and get you through that without you allowing you to do it for yourself, then I'm going to get your karma on me. And I'm going to be burdened. I'll be burdened with that. Because some people, hey man, throw somebody a line, but never put your hand in there. Because people will pull you in with them. You throw them a line.
I won't even throw them a line. There's times when I won't even throw them a line because I'm interfering with their whole process.
Yeah.
Who am I to say, you know what I mean? I know intuitively when to lend a hand, and I know when to withhold my hand. That's called maturity.
Mm-hmm.
That's called knowing who you are. And you have to pay a price, and it's only going to cost those who don't want to pay. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
You just put a song in my head, Robin.
What's that?
You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
It's funny because the piece that I played at the beginning of the show, which is from Tomorrowland, and it's the guy talking about the end of the world, and he's saying, you're all good about the end of the world because you don't have to do anything. In other words, you don't have to take responsibility. Everybody's cool with it. In other words, they're making video games about it. They're eating chocolate eclairs, stuffing their faces, eating popcorn, and we're all around the end of the world. Because, hey, I don't have to pay my credit cards. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to take responsibility.
No. the deal is this: is that there is no end of the world. Okay,
Right.
get that thought out of your head.
Thank you.
You know, get that out of your head. Okay, that is just one big, huge, fat, jumbo lie.
That's
And
what
so you
keeps
gotta
people
just
distracted. They're always expecting this, and
yeah. There's a deconstruction of humanity, which is spiritual as well as in the material, the 3D realm. Okay. And so there has to be this breakdown because of all the trauma that is being held within each individual. It's like you're a broadcaster. You're a radio frequency. You're a frequency of energy. You broadcast it out, but you also receive. There was a time when I was so sensitive, I couldn't even go out into crowds because I would just go berserko, because I was so sensitive to receiving, and then when I learned how to regulate it, when I learned how to protect myself from the unseemly broadcasting, and protect myself and put a protection around me, I can walk in and out of anything. Okay, and not even be fazed by it. All right. And so it's learning to come to that strength within yourself so that you can go into any situation and you will maintain your peace. This is what the Tibetan Buddhists teach. I mean, I learned from all the different schools because they're all important. All the different spiritual schools and the text and stuff like that and the philosophies and stuff. It's important to read, apply what you read, hold on to the things that resonate with you, shelf the things that you're not ready.
That's why she was saying non-duality earlier.
Yeah, it's this idea of the seat of consciousness and the seat of the soul. Like, for example, the idea that we're not really here, that we're bilocating. In other words, that the seat of consciousness isn't necessarily here in our physical domain that we see now, that it actually might be someplace else. Right? And the idea of deconstruction and deconstruct and deconstructionism, where one is about the linguistic or conceptual system, the other is about approach to understanding, and the other one's about looking at it from a duality perspective where it is actually linguistic and totally. But when you take all that away, when you strip that away, what it really means is that are we here? Right? Are we here?
Yes, I am here. I am here. But I'm in also multiple different other places simultaneously.
Right, we're multidimensional beings, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
because consciousness is energy. And so even though you're in this birthday suit here called the flesh, you're not limited to the flesh itself. You're not even limited to the five senses. But because you're in the flesh, it requires that you have the tools in order to function in this 3D realm in a wholesome, healthy manner. And humanity has lost that connection, and they need to reconnect. It's kind of like you got a bad motherboard. Okay, pull it out and put a new one in. It's like that. It's so simple. Your engine's bad. Okay, you take it out, you put a new one in. Your tranny's bad. You take it out, you put a new one in, and down the road you go. It's simple. These are little children understand this. Children are closer to the Creator than anything because they're innocents. You have to maintain your innocence.
Do you know what the difference is? I've thought about this because you used the word deconstruct a lot tonight, and I think that that's appropriate because it's about a linguistic or conceptual system, right? It's about using words, right? It's about analyzing words. And what do children have? Or what's their state of mind that we don't have? They don't have the words yet. They are just living, right? They're just perceiving and living before the words
They're
come.
experiencing their environment. They're soaking it all in.
Right. So our pathway to perfection
and they're not
is
shaped the same either, Epic. They're not shaped by the same experiences.
Right, exactly,
so they're fresh up.
So it's the words that have power that hold us and bind us in a sense, right? Because they are things that produce boundaries in a sense by their structure. The structures become bars to our reason and our spirituality. But those words also have power in the sense that they when they mean something divine, they have profound effects. So it's this ability to pass beyond the construction, right, that allows us to see the world as it really is. And so I think that, you made some good points tonight there. I think
Epic, the thing is that words are frequency. They're frequency. Words are frequency. It's sound. It's all sound.
Well, everything
I don't
is
understand
frequency.
the dynamics of how it works. There are other people that know how to break that all down. But all I know is the basics is that, when we speak words, we're basically speaking a frequency language, which is coming forth through the flow of consciousness.
The first lines in the Bible, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You can interpret that as it says logos in Greek, but it also means the frequency. In the beginning was the frequency, and the frequency was God, and the frequency is God, right?
And frequency is what creates whatever it is we're experiencing. And so, you can like command your day, create your day, or you can wake up and, I never go to sleep unhappy, because when I wake up, I'm happy. Yeah. And so it's all it's a choice, I get frustrated and I get, angry once in a while and things like that, but at least I own it. But I also am aware and conscious of why I'm having that emotion. Do you follow me?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's key.
Choice. It's all
most people don't. Most people, the majority of humanity that's going through this breakdown right now, this deconstruction, they're not understanding why they're having these emotions. This is the issue that's going on right now. And it's not all about feelings. Feelings can mislead you.
Well, you obviously have an understanding of Hinduism, and earlier when you said that we have to find, a solution, we have to be the solution to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I would take that a little, like maybe slightly further and say there is no problem.
Correct. Because, see, the answer is always in the question.
You know what?
The answer is within the question.
You know what? Christopher Everard on Facebook the other day, he put this thing up and it said, red pill or blue pill, which one would you take? And you know what I said? I commented underneath it, I said, there is no pill.
There you go.
That is perfect.
Well, he didn't even laugh at it or anything or make a comment, man. It was too good. I think it was too good. It was too snappy. Yeah. And the other thing I saw...
You hadn't thought of that yet.
No. I thought of this...
Well, I don't know. In Hinduism, there's this thing called samadhi. And when you go into deep meditation, it's a beautiful place. It's almost kind of like you're floating, like you're just merged with everything, and there's nothing but peace there.
I saw this.
And there's no.
That's beautiful.
No,
I mean, how does a person
precious.
get themselves there? Is through breath work? Is this like Kriya, like a yoga?
You're there every night when you go.
Dude, I just lay down on the earth. I just lay down on the earth, or if I'm at an ocean, I'll lay down on the sand, and then you just take some breaths, and then you just get quiet, and then you go deeper, and you go deeper, and you go deeper, and then all of a sudden it's like you're aware of your surroundings, but your surroundings are no longer existing.
Damn,
like you can hear things and
so calm.
I floated away there for a second.
Calm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a very precious. It's bliss is what it is. It's called bliss, and it's a very precious place to be. And now, if we can only learn how to maintain that for ourselves for long periods of time, there would be peace in the earth. There'd be peace in the land. Because peace is within you. It abides within you. It just wants to be activated, and only the individual can activate it. Nobody else can go in there and turn your switch on. You have to turn it on.
Well, I've been pretty
You
good
know,
at turning a few switches on in my day, but hey, that's another show. Listen,
yeah,
thank
but
you.
it's okay to get angry and stuff too. That's a different story. But anyway,
It is, but I mean, what are you gonna do? We're emotional beings. We live in an emotional world, and we're under constant attack. We're in a dopamine stupor. We're triggered.
I'm not.
Most people are. Most people are.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I know. It's unfortunate, and it's like I said, it is what it is, and we have to, for someone like me, I've had to learn all of these things and go into my toolbox. I got a toolbox that I utilize all the time, in order to keep my own sanity, because I'm seeing it. Thank God I learned how to protect myself from feeling it, because otherwise I'd be a basket case too, like all these folks.
Yeah.
And that's not my path. That's not my way.
No.
And and so
The
there
basket
are
pathway
ways.
weaves a lot. It's just saying.
Yeah.
All right, time's
You
up.
gotta- yeah.
Time's up on
You gotta weed your
Aftermath.
garden.
Yeah.
You gotta weed your garden.
We do. You got to dig in the dirt.
That's right. Well, I love you guys. It has been great chatting with you.
Thank you for joining us. Stand by. We're just going to be leaving Aftermath. You can
Okay.
stick around. Stick around.
All right. Okay.
The way you're dealing with this feeling can't go on like this too long.
This is Aftermath FM. It's into the microcosm.
You've gone too far. This time you've gone too far. This time
We've come to the conclusion of this presentation. We greatly appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. I'm going to be here with the galactic historian himself, Andrew Bartzis. And so if you know where the after party's at, that's where we'll be. And everybody else on Aftermath FM, stick around. Something good will be coming up. Not sure what it is, but you can be sure it'll be there. Mom's Jimmy. Thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow.
keep your hands on the wheel. Don't turn around. This is for real. Digging in the dirt.
Hey Danny, it's Mr. Rowe's birthday, so send him a birthday message if you got. Yeah, and next Monday he's coming back for Mr. Rowe's Wild Ride. You're welcome to join us if you'd like. Just let me know a little bit ahead of time.
I think I'm like in between vacations, traveling. I had my very first vacation like ever.
Oh, nice.
Recently, and my next one's next month. So
Sweet.
I'll book that. That would be so good.
All right, let's close this out over here. Hang on.
This place is coming like a ghost town. Bands won't play no more. Too much fighting on the dance floor.
Okay, there we go. So do you guys want to hang about for a bit? If you do, that'd be great. And I know, John, it's because the music was playing. Thanks for letting me know, though. So do you guys want to hang out for a bit? If you do, I just need to cruise outside and go have a cigarette. So I'll be back in, like 5 minutes or so. You guys want to?
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
You guys want to hang, Brandy? I can't. I wanted
John
to.
says my audio's low.
I know.
Is it bad?
No. It was because of the music.
Sounds fine to me.
the
Skype,
music.
Yeah,
I
it was
don't know how it
because
is on the channel.
We're all good. So listen, you should be good now because there's no music playing. So I'm gonna go have a smoke. There's 36 people over here in the Chatskis. So everybody's happening over here. Drone, I see Joan was trying to get you in yoga pants earlier, Danny.
Oh shit! I'm not Penelope.
He's trying to get everybody in yoga pants.
I know. Drone is
I
like.
bet he's wearing yoga pants.
Drone's got a yoga pants fetish now. All right, listen.
And an oil
I'm gonna go cruise outside and go have a smoke. So I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Thanks for being here, Danny. Really appreciate it. Brandy, I was trying to get it in. We only had a couple minutes left. I wanted you to plug your show. So
Oh, that's okay. Oh, that would have been sweet.
Yeah, so Brandy
We could do it another time.
Brandy's been doing her show for 3 weeks now. Solid.
Nice.
Yeah, doing really good
Nice.
too. Fantastic, Danny. You should check it out. She's got it going on over there.
I have checked it out.
Have you? Badass. All right, well,
She
listen.
totally has it going on.
Kick ass. Listen, I'm gonna go have a smoke, you guys. I'll be back, okay? So I'll be back. I'll bring back an interesting item from the other room when I come back.
Oh. Hmm.
I'll be back.
It's got it's like the wax museum. There's always
Has he
something in
been
the
to the
corner.
beach where all those big wiener worms are?
Should we be nervous?
Have you guys seen those?
I'm telling you that mannequin's gonna come to life and whack him on the head one night, man.
Oh gosh.
That mannequin was creepy as all get out. I'm telling you, it moves.
It does move, right? It
I
does.
like it though.
Yes.
Come on.
What was the name of the movie with Anthony Hopkins where he was the ventriloquist and he had the mannequin that came to life like that, or it was a projection of his inner stuff, whatever it was. But yeah, man, I always think about that. That or Talking Tina from Twilight Zone. It always bothers me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Right?
What about just like the My Buddy and Kid Sister dolls? That's bad
Those
enough.
dolls are creepy anyway. They just
look at-
creepy.
That's
Well,
the
I
okay
like
sign.
Those kinds.
He's got it up there on the screen. He's got the okay hand going. Yep. Well,
The way he had
I-
it turned though, it looked like a middle finger hand.
So since I got a panel of girls tonight, I think it's interesting. I'll bring up some movies I watched because they're all like geared towards men apparently. That I watched
Danny's
on
the
the
movie
plane.
buff, though.
Well, check this out though. No, I don't watch movies very much anymore. I had a video store and I got over it.
Well,
It's like
You
every
have
movie.
no excuse
every-
because of me.
Now, here's the thing.
I'm
like,
kind
what
of the
happens
movie
is-
person.
What happened? Yeah, and you are. So that's why I want you to be in on this. So
Right.
check this out. Like having a video store after you've been there for like 5 years, you've seen every movie known to man, every
Please be
single
kind,
one.
Rewind.
Right. Please be kind. Rewind. You're like, okay, you know what? They all have the same plot. It's only got an hour and a half or 2 hours to get there. You can predict everything
The
that's going to happen.
the prodigal.
It's true.
son.
It's true. It's
Right?
true.
So now it's all comic book movies. And so basically, I was on the plane, and I don't watch movies anymore. So I was on the plane flying to the mainland and coming back to Hawaii. So I watched 5 movies. And I watched, on the way over, I watched most of Tenet, but it ended before the plane landed because it was the second movie I watched. Because I watched Onward first, which is an animated movie, right? Which about magic in the world, and then it went away, and it's like a Pixar movie, I think. And then I watched, coming back, I watched Wonder Woman 1984, and then and then I watched the Witches and the end of Tenet, of course. And I got to say, man, they're all pretty awful. Pretty awful, I think. I mean, but I wonder if you've seen any of those, what you think about them. Oh, and I watched part of the new version of The Witches, which I thought was the best version of the bunch. Chris Rock is narrating rather. It's a remake of the 1992 one with what's her name, the daughter of the film producer of all those years. Anyway, point being, it's still the same kind of thing, but same plot, but it was better, I thought. So, have any of you seen those movies? And which one did you think?
Never
what'd
seen
you think
any of
about
them.
No, most of the movies I watch are like 80s at the newest.
So
I like
the
the
reason I brought them
70s,
up-
60s stuff the most.
Okay.
But 50s, even into the 20s, like Svengali, the original Svengali.
Oh,
is
right, yeah. of
That's
course.
my favorite movie,
Yeah.
ever.
So the reason I brought them
Mhm.
up is they're all preposterous, right? Everything about them is completely
Well,
preposterous.
of course,
and
because people
unrealistic.
talk about the Marxist takeover of Hollywood, but Hollywood is only the holy wood of Diana because of Marxism. So what are they talking about?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing in those movies that are real. And the only movie I saw on my vacation was I went to a movie with my sister. We have this ritual we do. No pun intended. Don't get spooked out. We go do our birthdays together. We go out and watch a movie or two, and then have dinner together. It's like our thing we do every year. And so I did that with her. Yeah. So we went out and we ended up watching. There's no movie we wanted to see. We ended up watching Black Widow. Again, preposterous. So all these movies are completely preposterous. And you're like, well, there's nothing realistic in any of them. And Tenet was like a remake of what's the one with where they do the time shift things and dreams with Leonardo DiCaprio. Can't think of the name at the moment.
Insurrection or
you had it. You
in
almost had it.
something.
Inception.
There you go.
Yes.
Right.
No, it's Inception. It's an action movie version of Inception where they do forward and backward time, and they kind of like try to play to the popularity of Black Panther, because Black Panther was popular, but the guy died. The guy who was the actor. I mean, it was obviously supposed to be. It was supposed to be. It was like that was what was supposed to be a vehicle for that. And I don't understand how a movie like that got made, actually, because it didn't make any sense to the common viewer. And despite the popularity of the actor and all that stuff, it was like, well, no, it didn't work. And then I think it just left people confused, right? And Wonder Woman, was so sappy. I actually enjoyed how sappy it was, because it was so sappy. I actually enjoyed it. Her love of her life comes back through a wish and all this stuff.
That one.
Yeah, I don't want to do total spoiler. I won't give it all away, but that's part of it. And then it's all about this wish making. They get this wish making monument, and it affects the world. Because DC Comics is completely over the top. I mean, Marvel's a comic book and it's over the top, but DC is even worse.
I was
Batman's
most utterly disappointed by Doctor Strange.
Really? What didn't you like about
it?
Doctor
Was so
Strange,
freaking cheesy, man. The cloak. Come on, give me a break.
So yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like how Marvel caught on like it did early on in the '90s with Spider-Man and with the X-Men. Like the first X-Men movie was pretty good, actually, right? I mean, if you weren't even a fan, it was like that was pretty good. And then it's like, oh man, that guy turns out to be a weird pedophile guy, Bryan Singer, right? Well, accused, allegedly a pedophile, right? And,
hey, Epic, did you ever see the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams?
Sure did. Yeah, I did.
Yes.
That's an awesome movie.
Forever.
That was a beautiful movie.
Oh, I got the ultimate chick
amazing.
flick. She's like, all these girls, check it out. The best chick flick ever, right? Is Somewhere in Time.
Oh, so good.
Okay, listen to this, you guys. My friend sent me the DVD of Somewhere in Time a solid decade and a half ago, and I still have not opened it.
What?
It's in my closet.
You lose your girl credentials for that.
I don't
right
like chick flicks, okay? I do not like chick.
I don't like smolchy romantic stuff. I find them really obnoxious. But I mean, I don't know. It's so unreal, and it's always the same storyline, and it's always.
Well, even as a guy, I thought that was a good one. That was a good story. I thought that was actually a pretty cool story.
Yeah. I like the family category. Mrs. Doubtfire, Aaron.
Well, Robin Williams, such an incredible talent. I mean, we're really going to miss him, right?
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah. He's amazing.
That's such a tragic thing that I'm not sure I believe it. I'm a conspiratorial guy, but I'm not sure.
I remember him in Mork and Mindy. Was it Nanu Nanu?
Mork from Mork.
Fly, be free.
Mork from Mork. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a very versatile actor. I mean, he was pretty amazing, and he was quite a comic too. Didn't he do some HBO specials with comedy or something?
Well, a ton. He was very quick on his. He's known for his quick wit. Like his appearances on late night talk shows are legendary, right? His interviews and stuff. And the thing is, like, you never want to be following the guy. Like poor David Lee Roth was on Late Night with Johnny Carson. Following Robin Williams.
You almost said Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, I almost said Jimmy Fallon. I almost did. And where he's just a deer in the headlights look, and he's trying to recover because Williams just killed it. Of course, right? And
right. Well, they're in two different worlds. They live in two different little bubbles. I call them their bubbles. Like David Lee Roth has his rock bubble, and Robin Williams has his bubble in the acting and comedy and that kind of thing. And so, people live in bubbles, so to speak, and got to pop the bubbles.
You know what I'm thinking about, and we're talking about this, and I started bring it up too much, but I think it's interesting in that we're never going to have that again. Not because that there's not comic geniuses like Robin Williams, but because political correctness isn't going to allow people to do that on late night talk shows anymore, or
Right.
take over the show and just go and improvise like that. I mean, those were hilarious shows, and they were hilarious because the guy was allowed to just go off and do his thing. And nowadays, I just don't think that's going to ever happen again. And we're really losing something, I think, because of that. Like, comedy works because it hits people on a gut level. Yeah.
Freedom of expression. And this is why all this stuff is happening. All this stuff is happening because all of this suppressed emotions and toxic stuff is being squelched rather than being allowed to be released. And it's going to be released one way or another. So it don't matter. You can try to oppress and suppress this. You ain't stopping this. This is a spiritual work that's taking place right now. And it's a very important work that's taking place. But I was thinking also about, what was I thinking about? Well, anyway, if it comes back to mind, I'll say something. But yeah, I mean, this is what's going on. And so it is what it is. And, just enjoy the ride. I love Bill Hicks. I've been watching a lot of his old stuff lately on YouTube. Oh my God. That guy is authentic and he's a true comedian. I loved him. He's awesome. I wish I could have seen him live. He was amazing, Bill Hicks.
We play his comedy all the time on here. He was great. Yeah, well, and he never hear because he was censored even back then as Lenny Bruce. It's so hard to hear his stuff because nobody ever it was censored even back then. You have to really dig it out,
Yep.
Which is
and
tragic.
This
right?
is nothing new. I mean, this is nothing new because even decades ago, I was talking about this subject regarding, freedom of speech. I'm going, who are you kidding? You don't have freedom of speech. You've never had freedom of speech. Okay? You always have somebody there that wants to censor you, shut you down, act immature, call you names, blah, blah, blah. It's nothing new. It's just it's all coming to the surface. Everything that's been hidden over all of these centuries is coming up now to roost. It's coming up now. It's like you got to lance the boil, and let that stuff ooze out and just let it ooze out.
Sounds like a Peter Gabriel song, like Shock the Monkey, Lance the Boil.
Yeah, you got to, man. I saw him live at the Forum, man, and he sang that song, Digging in the Dirt, and oh, man, this Peter Gabriel is an incredible artist. He's awesome.
Fantastic. I made a comment in this chat about that because, people know him for like the So album, but no, he's really good, man.
Yeah, he's awesome. He put on a wonderful. I mean, it was like going into an art gallery, but to music. The guy's a poet, and just an incredible artist. And same thing with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, artists. These are masters of their craft. These are true musicians,
The Last Temptation.
And the Traveling Wilburys. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the Peter Gabriel, The Last Temptation of Christ is a really fucking good piece of music.
I have that CD,
Yeah, you can listen to that pretty much. I listened to that thing I think I listened to that once for a year straight. Just played it over and over. Everywhere I went, it was on my Walkman. It was in my car.
These people are masters of their craft, and there's a spiritual element to what they're putting out, and it's amazing if you really pull back the curtain, you can actually see what's really being transmitted, and then if you can grab it and take a hold of it, you get a diamond, or you get you get something precious, And I mean, I don't like to listen to all this new pop stuff and crap like that. I like things that have substance, and I listen to a lot of classical music and jazz too, because there's times when I just don't want to hear lyrics. I just don't want to hear them. I just want to hear the sound of music.
Yeah, I went off on a soundtrack listening spree for a couple of years. That's all I did, with soundtracks and just instrumental music. I didn't give up my Floyd, so I guess that you had that going still. But pretty much everything else is all instrumental. And there's a lot of great music out there. I wish I was still doing it in a way, except that what happened was Yanni came along. I don't hate Yanni, but after the first album, whatever, it's like, come on, man. Once he hooked up with Linda Evans or whatever, it's like, it's like, all right, well, I did that so many times. I got the owl
I
in the
saw
corner.
Pink
What's going
Floyd
on?
too. at
You're
the
in the
forum.
weeds. Hey, Danny, I think you're muted.
Yeah, my son's talking to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you
no,
were
it's
talking.
okay.
Sorry about that.
How old's
It's
your
okay.
son, Danny? How old is your son?
He just turned 19 a few days ago.
So he's a
But you're
young
only
man.
19. What the hell?
I know.
Right? Like, how does that even happen? Oh, come on.
That's like drinking. It's drinking gin and juice in the hood, where the guy's dad gets younger and younger. And pretty soon.
What's that movie where, like, the dude gets all young and
Don't
stuff?
drink gin and juice in the hood.
Yes, Benjamin Button.
Man, that movie is
And
funny.
there's a woman too. There's The Life of Adeline or something like that. Kind of the same story.
Are you making
She
cinnamon
just
things? Smells good.
Did
Oh no,
you-
she doesn't age at all. That's it.
Did you see the?
Ah.
I brought the interesting item. It's just a basket woven owl. That's the head comes off, and you put your potpourri in there, and you put your head back on, and then
No,
you,
man. You put your weed in there.
well, you can put. I know. Well, I'm just saying. I'm just.
With your, your puff, you just take your head off and put it in there.
There you go.
So when I look at the feet of that thing, though, it looks like it sits on like a.
It's like a half piece of bamboo. It's like they put.
Yeah, like it would sit on like the pole where you put your coat hangers and
You
and
could.
stuff,
I got
you
it
know?
sitting on the edge of a pot with a giant. What's got like a palm tree in it, like a. short-
Gosh darn! I hope it doesn't smell like mothballs. Maybe that's
No.
what it was made for.
No,
It
no.
smells like weed. Come on.
I can't stand the.
Oh dear me!
Can't stand the smell of mothballs.
Nasty.
But I
Very
just
nasty.
I just have to say though, if you ever have rats or any varmints, they hate mothballs. So if you gotta get
Snakes do too.
you gotta get skunks out there under the house, mothballs. If you can stand
If you don't
it.
want
We
snakes
used to
in your
use
yard,
the
you
cedar
just put
blocks. We
mothballs
used to use the
all
cedar
around.
blocks. We used the cedar blocks, but that was more for the moth stuff. But cedar blocks seem to help a lot too. Mothballs, I cannot stand the
Me
smell of that
neither.
stuff. That stuff's nasty.
What's
Yeah,
it
it doesn't
even
work-
made
doesn't
of?
work on
though?
geckos.
What is it?
It's ammonia and some other stuff.
Moth.
But yeah, it doesn't work on
It's
geckos.
made of
man.
mothballs.
They're sick.
I mean, because ammonia doesn't smell so terrible to me, like the stuff in the jug, you
Mhm.
know. But those things, that's like
Well,
mechanic armpit.
these guys were saying something about the owls. There's an owl back there. There's always an owl around because I have a shitload of owls because I started collecting owls. And it's
Cool.
because I had some
Owl,
owl
man.
experience.
Owl,
Yeah.
man.
I had,
my eye.
exactly.
Ow!
I had an owl experience, but I had an even more intense experience before I knew there was a such thing as owl medicine. I was at this place called there's a bookstore down in Los Angeles called the Psychic Eye, and it's in
I've heard of that. Yeah.
yeah. There's two of them. There's one in North Hollywood and there's one in
They're in movies. They're in the background quite a bit. Like they'll go into. Is it on Sunset Strip or something? Because it always
no,
shows
it
up.
was
I've
on.
seen it a couple times.
It's in Venice. It's on the beach. It's on the Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah, it's a prop. I mean, it's
Oh,
been
on
in
the
a couple movies.
boulevard, on
Yeah.
the boardwalk. It's on the
Mhm.
boardwalk.
Well, it's not on the boardwalk, but it's on the street next to the boardwalk. So
Oh, okay.
anyways, the point being is that what was the point?
You were talking about the psychic eye.
Oh, the Psychic Eye, the owl medicine. Yeah. So at the Psychic Eye, they used to have all this shit, these classes and all this stuff. And sometimes they'd have people come by and do their thing or whatever. You could come and pay $10 and go see the lady in the back room or whatever. So
Right.
this lady was coming.
Hold
by-
on. You go see the lady in the back room.
Yeah. No, she was a channeler. She's
I think there was a Doors song about that.
I see you, peekaboo.
she said she was a channeler. So this lady was a channeler. So I was gonna go check it out. So I got there a little bit late, and so there was only one chair left, and it was in the fucking front of the room. And so I was sitting over there, kind of off to the side, but I was still, I was in the front of the room, and the rest of everybody else was sitting out in front of me, sort of, so I could see their faces. So she's doing this thing, she's talking in voices and shit, and I'm sitting there the whole time, and I'm thinking, And this lady's full of shit. I'm just going, man, this is so fake, because she's using total generalities with people, acting like she's giving them psychic.
The letter J.
Yeah, exactly. And it would apply to anybody. You've got an obstacle you have to overcome. And then the person goes, oh, yeah, that's right, man. I got that test coming up. Or whatever.
Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah. Well, check this out. Here comes the kicker, man. So I'm outside, they're taking a break. And go back inside and sitting there. And then all of a sudden, man, she fucking just turns and looks directly at me. And her voice dropped, and the fucking temperature in the room dropped. Literally, I shit you not. And she goes, she starts telling me about all this shit about a red pickup truck, and I was going to be someplace where there was rivers, and there was going to be a big problem, and all this shit. Okay, this is 3 years before that actually happened. Like I ended up in Oregon because my fiance's little brother had a disease called ataxia telangiectasia, and he was fucking dying, and we had to go up there and help, take care of him. Well, she had to go, but I, went with her, obviously. And, so the thing is we were there, okay, and all that happened. Almost everything she said happened. And the other part about it was the lady was she was a practitioner, and her animal was the owl, and she practiced owl medicine. Here's the thing. Her brother, when he was dying, we were staying up there in a trailer, and we're like up in Oregon in the forest and stuff, so it's really quiet. This fucking owl came in there, okay, and it just came in and it started hooting and shit, and it was hooting for like a week, and then her brother fucking died. And so I had this.
Well, the native people have owl medicine, and the owl represents the ability to see in the dark. It's a very powerful medicine.
I know.
It's mostly shamanic. The seers have that medicine, but also the golden eagle is also very keen and has very keen eyesight. And so, but yeah, if you want to see into the night, you call on that owl medicine, because it'll allow you to see the things that are hidden, and you can see them in the night.
So that's why
it's a very powerful.
Yeah. So all of it. So it resonated. So she had, when she was doing she's doing her ceremonial. She had owl feathers, and she was, saging the room, and she was doing this whole thing. And so, anyways, the bottom line is, there's whole owl connection, and then on that same property, I had found a spotted owl carcass. And so I took, obviously I got the carcass. I took all the feathers and the skull and all that stuff, and I took it, brought it back. And so, I kept all that stuff for a long time, and and then I started collecting these, just owls and this and that. But for whatever reason, people get triggered because I guess, there's owls have something to do with Mason. So if I have an owl, people start going, Jimmy's a Mason.
Yeah. No. It's a very powerful medicine. The Native Americans, North American Indians especially. I think it's probably even in other cultures too, I would imagine. If anything, the Masons hijacked it. So anything else, and then they inverted it.
Well, I'll just say this.
I'll just say this. Jimmy's a Mason. We need to break in the song,
I know. Well,
Jimmy's a Mason.
Are you a Mason jar? Are you a Mason jar?
No, but I was just gonna say,
what I say to people.
If I was a Mason, I wouldn't hide it from you. In other words, if I was a Mason, I'd openly fucking say I was. Why would I hide it?
Take the song Sheena as a punk and turn it into Jimmy as a Mason.
Yeah.
I always say, you're talking about Mason jars. I really have no clue what you're talking about. I play dumb a lot of times with dumb people.
It's just that the thing is there's stuff that's there's stuff that in the alternative media, for example, it's secret, it's a brotherhood, and they give each other hands up and whatnot. So it's for a lot of people, they don't like it. But the thing is, man,
well, these are people that are ignorant and they're new to the game, and so they're not aware of what's really taking place. It's not a secret.
The best part about it, the best part about it for me, that people should just realize and just take it, take it for what it's worth. Here's the thing: there's a reason that it's behind closed doors, so technically you shouldn't know anything about it anyway. And if you're not interested in it, you don't knock on the door. Don't knock on the door. Right. You won't find out what's going on inside. It's none of your business. Just keep going. I mean, imagine if you had to worry about what, as you walk down the street, you worry about what's going on behind every single closed door that you see and make it your business. Okay, the door's closed for a reason, man. If you don't want to be a Mason, don't be one. But if people want to be one, go down and knock on the door. If you want to be one, ask one. I mean,
you got to open it.
Well, actually, masonry was actually a craft. Okay, had to do with building. Like my father, he was a mason. He laid brick, concrete, and so originally it had nothing to do with all this secret crapola that people, I know it exists and I know it happens and I know what they do, but at the same time, originally it was your craftspeople. These are people that were builders.
Even in that craft, though. See what it is. It's a system where someone is taught by someone else who's been there before. They have a journeyman and they have an apprentice. Right. And the apprentice learns the trade. And so even the kind of work that you're talking about, it is magical in the sense that it requires the sacred geometry. It requires lines and straight edges and. It requires so I mean, it's actually is a magic, and it is it's called a guild society. It's where if I train you to make shoes and you make a bad pair of shoes, it reflects on everybody who makes shoes.
I think that's what Plato meant by having the inscription above the door to his school that nobody could enter unless they had the understanding of geometry.
Yeah.
I think it was sacred geometry.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because as a carpenter and as a bricklayer, you had to understand those dynamics and you needed to master the tools of your trade, in order to, get work and to get forward in life. And that's just how it was. These are the architects, these are the people that, built all the buildings and did all the designs and made things happen.
That's exactly the lexicon that's used in the Masonic orders. Is the great architect is used. So even metaphorically and physically, even I mean the sacred architecture that's gone on, the building that's happened in the past, the building of Solomon's temple, all these things, these magical ways of putting buildings together to have a resonant frequency, generator inside, and all the acoustical principles. This is the sacred architecture that goes along with the sacred geometry. And it took skilled craftsmen, like you're talking about, masons, to build those buildings. Right?
Like the Vatican.
And then they put the chief cornerstone in there too. You always see a cornerstone on a lot of these buildings as well. And it'll say, this building was built circa blah blah blah, whatever, but that's the
1860.
They have
they
a
didn't
big
do
ceremony.
that before then. No.
What'd you say?
And they put their initials on it too, that master builder.
Yeah.
The other thing is,
so but then they take it to a different level now where they get this mindset of, okay, well, we're godlike now, and so we're the only ones that can really tell humanity what's best for them. That's where it goes wrong right there. And this is the problem. And with all these nefarious secret societies, whether it's the Society for Jesus, the Jesuits out of Rome, which is pretty much the underlining factor of the majority of this stuff, because a lot of that stuff came from the Jesuits.
I got to point out, it's older than that, right? So for example, they trace it back to Solomon's Temple, and Solomon's Temple was destroyed in 586 or 587 BC by the Babylonians, which led to the Babylonian captivity. So the Freemasonry stuff that we know today is based on Babylonian Kabbalistic magic. right? So that's where it comes from. Now, people think of like the 70 AD destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans, but it's way predates that.
No,
so,
it goes way back. It goes way back. Yeah, I agree with you, Epic. I totally agree with you.
Then the chief cornerstone is, chief means head or top, so the chief cornerstone is actually the top stone, and there's only one structure, one shape that could have a chief cornerstone, and that's a pyramid. And the pyramids are, the great pyramid at Giza is missing its chief cornerstone. That wouldn't be.
And my understanding is the pyramids were energy generators. From my understanding, from what I was learning, they actually absorbed energy and then they also expelled energy. Because at one time, I think that those pyramids, they glittered. There was like crystals. They were crystals. But because of all the centuries that have gone by, that has pretty much eroded on the outer side of the pyramid. But they were crystalline.
Well, and I believe that's why they lined up the way that they do too. And some have even lined up here into North America from over there.
Right.
They actually the case stones, they call them the case stones, right? That made them gleam in the sun. Those were taken. Yeah, those were taken away when it was invaded, when Egypt was invaded and conquered, and they used them to build other buildings. So the thing we see as pyramids today is like the inner core. We're missing all the glory that it had before then, and the capstones. So what I like about it is the idea. I don't know if it's true or not. Energy generators is one thing. Like it might have been hydrogen generators, might have been all these other things. There's all kinds of theories about it because the inner workings of them. But one of the things that I really like about them, laying up on these ley lines, no pun intended, is that they were energy amplifiers of intention. So they were the original Large Hadron Collider, in a sense. They were the thing that people used to amplify the psychic energy of the people around it in the place. So and they line up with so many other places on the planet.
The colliders is still there. That's the 144,000.
Right.
And these were natural energy generators, and then Tesla tapped into it later on in the 18th century, and he started tapping into it and how to grab energy out of the ethers to utilize for free energy. You see. And so, there's so much that has been hijacked and stolen from humanity, and humanity's been kept in the dark for so long. That's why they've been so traumatized. It's like locking up a child in a closet, and you have total control over them. You know what I'm saying? And they're not able to come out. And you just control what they eat. You control when they sleep. You control, everything. And that's inhumane. That is not healthy. That's not a healthy mind. And this is what's happening to humanity. You've been kept in the dark for so long. And now you're starting to wake up, and you're all confused, and your emotions are all over the place, and all the toxicity's coming up, and you don't know which end is up or down. This is how I see humanity right now, And it's sad to watch, but I see the other side. And when you hear the term the new earth is basically this earth itself. It's just that the consciousness of the people have gotten charged and reawakened so that they go back to that place of peace and tranquility where everything is done from a cooperative perspective, and you don't have any statism. You don't have any political corporate governments. You don't have corporations. Everybody is working in tangent with one another and assisting one another in fulfilling whatever their need is in that particular moment. Does that make any sense? That's your new earth. It's pure consciousness.
Well, consciousness manifests reality. That does seem to be what's going on. So, by altering consciousness,
the mind has to be cleansed. You cannot enter the gates of consciousness until you cleanse the toxicity out of your own beingness.
I don't know about that though. Like, so for example, what I mean is like people who aren't cleansed and don't know what they're doing still have consciousness, and they manipulate the reality we live in because they don't have any idea what they're doing. Right.
Yeah,
so they're
manipulate
toxic pollution, basically. Yeah.
But the point being is that everyone is going to be, they're going to cleanse the cleansing is happening, okay? Whether they're aware of it or not, it is occurring, okay? And the reason why there's so much of the chaos and the emotional chaos occurring is because of that fact. Consciousness doesn't care whether you're aware of it or not. It benefits from you being aware of it. You benefit from being aware of it, but it exists in and of itself. It's just like energy. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't taste it, but yet it exists.
But you can direct it like a river. You can direct it like a river. So
when you're
people
conscious.
do this, well, no. When people go and direct people's energy into anger or some vibrational energy that it becomes focused and intentional, like this kind of thing we see today with this conflict addiction. I mean, this kind of outrage machine that makes people go out and be all focused on their anger without even knowing why. It disrupts the conscious energy that we all have that might make a better world, because it's all focused on this other thing that disrupts everything.
Well, see, you have to become psychically immune to all that stuff. That means owning your own beingness. This is what Jesus the Christ was all about. This is what the Buddha was all about. You have to own it. And until you do, you're going to be manipulated. You're going to be subject to. I'm not interested in being subject to anything.
Well, none of us are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is a potential possibility.
That's the biggest misinterpretation of what Jesus wanted us to do. He wanted us to be wholly human.
Yes, that's correct.
This is my
and
commandment.
walking in the divine consciousness. You're walking in the divine consciousness all the time, 24/7. Whether you're physically awake or asleep, you're in that state. You're in that state. And so you're seeing things and acting you're seeing, you're speaking, you're hearing nothing but divine, nothing but purity. There's a lot of work that has to be done right now with humanity.
I agree
They're so
with
far
that.
behind. Bless their hearts. Yeah. Bless their hearts. And they're like a small child. They're frightened. They're confused. They don't know which way to turn. And I can't help them. You can only help those who want to be helped.
Yeah. You can't cast your pearls before the swine.
Yeah. I don't waste my time on people who don't show any effort, I'll give them that first initial reality check, but then after that, it's all what I do or what I share with them is determined on them. It's determined by them. Because there's a lot of things I'm not able to share with people because they're not in a place to receive. And it's my job to know whether they're ready to receive it or not. And that comes through divine revelation from the Holy Spirit directly. Okay? Wisdom isn't something that, you turn on like a socket, It's something that it comes in the moment when it's needed, when it's necessary. And then you just go about your business. See, I know when I'm in the spirit and I know when I'm in my flesh.
I think doesn't the Bible say, like I may have this wrong in Proverbs, remember Solomon started out great and then he became a magician and went the wrong way, but he says in Proverbs, doesn't he, that wisdom comes through deliberation and through, it's in other words, it's something you have to work to achieve. It's not something that.
Well, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom.
Yeah,
now, it's not the fear that we think of it as. Okay.
Respect.
It's
right.
just
respect.
It's called it's reverence. It's called reverence. There's trust there. There's this communication that you're having between yourself and the Creator, and it's like I'm talking with you guys right now, and ladies. It's simple like that, and you go and you just say, hey, I'm having trouble with this. Can you show me something? Can you help me with this? I need your wisdom here. and you just sit and you wait. You wait on the Lord. You wait on that spirit. You wait for that wisdom to come. You don't act. Everybody's knee jerked. Everybody's wanting their comeuppance yesterday. Doesn't work like that. And it's learning how to have that subtle ear to hear, that sensitivity to hear.
You can pray for understanding, right? Like if you look at it scripturally, like you can pray for understanding, and wisdom's kind of like a gift, right? Wisdom comes to you like it's earned.
Well, you pray for wisdom and you pray for understanding, and then the knowledge will come. But you have to, those that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. And so you have to be, it's like everybody's praying wrong because they're all coming from a selfish perspective. Nobody asks their creator, what do you think about this? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Can you help me understand in a deeper way regarding whatever situation you're up against?
When I pray,
and
well, some people do pray that way. I pray that way. That's how I pray.
When I pray, I don't ask for anything. I say thank you, and that's it. There's nothing to ask for. God knows what I want. I don't have to ask God for shit. The thing is, and
God knows the desires of your heart.
That's right. And the thing is,
thinking about it, right?
The thing is, if you pray,
into action better than we can say it.
If you pray for something, okay, like you say, oh, I want a new car or whatever. Well, you get a new car, but in order to get the new car, you got to have a car accident. And you're going to lose both of your fucking legs.
Right. There you go.
That's good.
There you go.
I mean, isn't it always like...
that it's always important to ask for wisdom and understanding, and then the knowledge will follow so that you can apply it and execute it.
Well,
God's wisdom passes all of man's understanding.
Right. So you get the knowledge, then you understand the knowledge, then you have wisdom how to use it. Right? Isn't that how it kind of goes? Like so you get the knowledge.
Wisdom first, then understanding, and then the knowledge to execute it. You have to have the wisdom first. You have to have the sight. You have to have the intention be brought forward. Okay, and then you see it, right? And then you get the understanding as okay, what tools do I need, or whatever it is do I need? What actions do I need to take? Okay, in order to take this wisdom to the next level. The next level is the knowledge. And what the knowledge does is it thrusts it forward like you're pulling back an arrow in a bow, right? And you're looking at your target, okay? And you're looking for that bullseye, and you want to hit that bullseye, right? And so once you get all those three in alignment, the wisdom, the understanding, and the knowledge, you're going to hit that bullseye.
And it's like,
because then you're putting it into action.
I was thinking earlier today, honest to God, I was thinking this. I was thinking that I should start every broadcast with the Serenity Prayer, because when you think about the Serenity Prayer, think about it. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, right? So I can't change it. I gotta just fucking accept it. I can't change it. If I can't change it, I accept it. That's gonna give you serenity right there, right?
Yeah, but just give me wisdom, but not strength. Because if you give me strength, I'm gonna hurt somebody.
Well, listen to this.
No, strength is important. It's an inner strength. It's not a physical strength. It's inner strength.
I know.
So,
but that's a good one, though.
Yeah.
I like it.
And so it's God
I'm joking.
It's grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So like if it is the end of the world and there's going to be a big explosion, can I change that? No. Is there anything I can? No. So might as well just stop fucking worrying about it and worry about what I can do.
All you can do is stay in peace.
Or help somebody else.
And watch the explosion.
Yeah, go ahead, Brandy. Jump in there. I know you wanted to get in there on that. Go ahead.
I just said go get a beer and watch the explosion. I mean, it's all in your throat. You know, what are you going to do about it? You can't do anything about it.
You just stay in your peace. and know that everything is going the way that it's designed to go. And the thing is that we don't understand all the mysteries. Okay, we've been given portions. We've been given. Some of us have been given more than others because of our relationship. Okay, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that you're a victim. Okay, nobody's a victim in life. There are no victims in life. And the only reason why there are victims is because you got perps. And without a perp, you don't have a victim. And without a victim, you don't have a perp. So stop being a perp and stop being a freaking victim. End of story. Peace.
That's the hardest thing to come to terms with non-duality, is that nobody's really a victim.
No, there are no victims here. And you can whine and cry and moan and groan, about being a victim or being a perp. But you know what? In the bigger picture of things, neither of them actually have any kind of a working hypothesis here. They're not real. They're just things that you want to experience. So if you want to experience it, you're going to experience it. There you go. There's no mystery to that. It's very simple. I mean, even small children understand that. It's like we guide the children, but you can say to a child, now be careful over there. You've got fire there. The fire burns. Okay? You just be careful. Now I'm going to pull back. Now if the child decides they're going to put their fingers in the fire, I'm going, well, didn't I instruct you to be careful? I said it's going to burn you. You chose to experience that.
We've come a long way from the days of being chased by a saber-toothed cat, though. It used to be like we've actually advanced so far that we can actually have those luxuries. Like there was a time when
our ancestors though operated in fear, though they operated in fear too because they were in survival mode.
Right. We're not that far from that slipping away from us, though. Is what I'm saying. Like society can collapse, and again, we're going to be worried about that saber-toothed cat or whatever.
So what if it does? Who cares? Let it collapse.
Well, we're the ones who sustain. So that goes back to the scriptural thing we're just talking about being the salt of the earth, right? So our wisdom, our knowledge, our understanding makes us the salt of the earth, that we preserve the earth. But what good is the salt if it's lost its savor? That's what Jesus said. So if we go and lose our savor, then we don't sustain the earth we have anymore. And that's the precipice that we're on, is that chaos will ensue, and we will go back to a time that, we do have to worry about the most primal things. And that there's no, you don't have time for wisdom and understanding when you're worried about getting eaten that day. You know what I mean? It could easily fall to that level.
No, I understand. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I get that. But we've evolved from that mindset, okay? So we're not living in fear or survival mode, okay, some of us. And so we don't even entertain those thoughts, okay? And so, I mean, people who want to entertain those thoughts, they're free to do so. But I'm not going to entertain them, because I know my God is a mighty God, and he will deliver me from any kind of thing unless he appoints it. Nothing can touch me unless God allows it. And he's got Lucifer, Satan, devil, whatever you want to call it, on a very, very short leash. Because when you read the book of Job, Satan went to the Father and says, "Oh yeah, we'll see how faithful your servant is here when you remove the hedge of protection around you." And God said, "Oh, okay, I'll remove the hedge of protection around him that I have around him. But guess what? You can do everything you want to him, but you cannot take his life." And Job lost everything. He got boils. He lost his wife. Even his wife turned to him and said, "Why don't you just curse God and die?" And he had such great faith.
Well, what's great about that story is that Job had great friends. Like he had these awesome friends, right? And the friends would tell him, "No, you're doing the right thing, Job. It's all going to be good, whatever." I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but it's like, and then God speaks out of the whirlwind, like, "Where were you when I set the eagle to fly and took the dirt from the earth and made you and all this," right? So yeah, so in other words, we don't understand.
But then in the end, the ending is beautiful. The ending is beautiful though, because he gets everything returned onto him. What was it? Triple, Brandy Lou? Was it triple? He got everything returned back onto him.
Was it 5 times? It was 5 times.
It was more. I think it was more than triple.
I think it was 5 times.
Yeah, he
that
got
happens
a
twice
lot
in
back.
scripture, right?
That's
Yeah.
the
And
part
you-
I can't
yeah.
reconcile with that though is the children, the losing his children and then gaining new ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's I could gain 1 billion new ones and that would still be no compensation.
That's
No,
where
I
his faith
understand.
was so
Yeah.
strong.
So what if it's a story
Yeah.
about quantum immortality and all these things
Yeah,
happen in
there's
other
no way
parallel
it's a
dimensions?
story about anything
Right.
literal.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
No, and I understand. I understand that, Danny, because children are very, especially to the mother. The children are very, well, for some mothers, they could care crap about their children, but a true mother will want to protect her child. You know what I mean? At all costs, and even in nature, you'll see that. The animals will make that attempt, but if they see that it's not happening, then they'll just retreat because they know that they're going to be able to have more. And I think that's kind of where that kind of is. And I think humans, though, we get too emotional and too attached. And the only thing that you really ought to be attached to is your creator. And even that's not a requirement. It's, that's also a free will choice. But I don't have attachments to people, places, or things. It's like once I go, I'm gone. And I'm into another adventure, into another story,
Mm-hmm.
And then, when that's done, I go into another,
Well, let me
I
just say the time has come for it to be done right now. We'll move into another. Because it's like 2 a.m. over here on the West Coast, and I think
Right.
it's 5 a.m.
Yeah, I'm
over
trying to
there.
get back on Hawaiian time, right? Yeah,
And
so
you
I'm
guys-
5 a.m.
Yeah, you're.
It's only
you're
5
doing
in the
great.
morning here.
I know.
Oh, no,
It's
that's
5
early.
a.m.
Just getting
Well,
up.
thank you,
First
Jimmy,
coffee
for
hour.
allowing this, and I really appreciate the time,
I
and I
appreciate you.
appreciate everybody, hearing me out,
We
and
really-
I appreciate hearing everybody else's
Well,
views.
I think
as
we
well.
need to
It's
do it.
really wonderful.
I think we need to do it again. I mean, obviously, we're going to be doing Trucker Tuesday next Tuesday, but I think what we should do maybe is get a ladies' night going with you, Danny, and Brandy. You guys come back and
That'd be cool.
tear something up, tear something to
But I
shreds.
like hearing what Epic has to say because iron sharpens iron, and I like what you have to say too.
I know. Well, I
Jimmy,
enjoy
so-
listening. I enjoy listening to others too. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Mhm.
that's
always
what.
good to hear everybody.
Yeah, it's like that's what's good when people call in is we get other viewpoints because like we say, I got a really cool cartoon I'll send you, Danny. It's super funny, but it's these two guinea pigs, and this one says if you ain't with us, you're against us, and the other guinea pig says, well, what if I check out both sides of the story and then come to my own unique decision? And then the other guinea pig says, kill him, he's a traitor. So, yeah, I mean, that's what it's like, so no one has the answers. I don't have the answers. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen tomorrow. We just like...
We only have our own answers, if we have any.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's correct.
All
And
right.
even them can also be questionable. I'm always
Right.
questioning myself. You got to question
As long
yourself.
as we're not answering ourselves, yeah.
Well, that's...
Well, maybe
Yeah.
not you.
That's what.
You know what's annoying is when people ask themselves their own questions. You know what I mean?
We're talking the third
Do
person.
I ask myself?
Uncle Jimmy.
Do I ask myself my own
Give themselves
questions?
Their own opinion.
Oh, are you referring to in conversation, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when people are like, you're not asking them the question, so they ask it of themselves and then they answer it.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I like the people that ask a question on top of a question.
What do I think about my own questions? Well, let me think about that. It's more I think that. Right, exactly.
Well, when I sold cars for a bit, and I was working at a Honda dealership, man, but there was a dude there. I mean, I got sick of it. I was a number one salesman. Like my second month, I was driving a demo, but by my third month, I was like, I wanted people to get a good deal and shit, so I wasn't making any money, and I got sick of these fuckers. I show up to work and I go, "Hey Grant, what time is it?" He go, "I don't know, Jimmy. What time do you want it to be?"
Oh, God. That's
And then
rude.
I was
That's
like,
pretty arrogant.
No, it's because they train you to ask every fucking
Closes, right? They ask
everybody asks you.
I
Every-
see.
when
I
someone
understand.
asks a
yeah, it's
question-
like a sales thingy, yeah.
You answer the question with a question.
Right.
Well, Grant, I don't know. What time is it? And if it was, would you? In other words, he'll go, you see what I mean? It's like this.
Yeah.
I don't know, but if it was, would you? So now it's back into your coin. So in other words, you buy the car. Go ahead, Danny. What are you going to say?
It's just a beautiful art to be able to answer a question with a question.
It's just, yeah, and those dudes that answer questions with questions are the number one salesmen.
What do you guys mean?
What are you talking about?
Epic.
I'm
right.
too commanding. I'm too commanding. Nobody can sell me anything unless I go in there intentionally to purchase something. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
That's
I'm
what
real
it's-
funny like that. I'm
That's what I
very
used to,
commanding of my
that's what I
word.
used to say to people. You know, it's like people would come on the lot, they just go, you know, I just go, what's up? Oh, we're just looking. Well, can I answer any questions? I mean, you know, just I'm
Can
not.
I help you?
Yeah, well, I mean, let me, you know, because there's something I can help you find. I mean, I know every single car on this lot. I mean, what are you looking for? No.
No, Jimmy, I'd be coming up to you saying, yo, Jimmy, I'm looking for a blah, 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 blah. Can you show me what colors you got? Or can
And
you
I
show
go,
me
yeah.
what's available?
It's right over
That's
here.
That's me.
I'd be right
I'm
over.
too commanding.
Right over here. Yeah, but no.
The next question is, but we don't have the blue SRI. How do you feel about the Civic, you know, with the new belt drive and all that? Next thing you know, you're looking at that.
No,
Yeah,
if you
that's
don't
how it
got what I
works.
want, later.
Which one of these is your next new car?
Man,
That new car
everybody's just $1 away from an extra, you know, and it's like, well, man, you can afford $225 a month, can you? I mean, that's just one extra latte a week you don't have to drink. But you never.
No, I know what I can afford a month.
You never do not drink that extra latte. You couldn't afford the $225. So you know what I mean? It's like.
It's manipulation is what it is.
You know what?
That's what I want.
Those fuckers are there to.
Forgive me. At least that's how I see it.
They're there to sell cars, man. You know, if you walk on.
I get that.
You know what? You know what the thing is. We know what there is in the car business. There's something called the B-back bus. You ever heard of it?
Huh.
Yeah, it's where all these fuckers go. Oh, hey, I'll be back.
It's a Who song, right?
No, they
Is
go.
that like the blue bus?
Be-back bus.
The B-back bus is I'll be back. So I'll be back later. Those motherfuckers never come back. So they say there's a whole.
Of course not.
No, they say there's a whole bus full of them, and they're all in the same bus, and they're all going to come back at the same time. That's what your sales manager said. He goes, "Where'd that fucking guy go, Jimmy? What the fuck? Where'd that guy go?" I go, "Well, Bob, he said he was going to be back. He said he was going to be back," and they fucking come unglued. Because you're green. You don't know. The guy says, "I'm coming back." You think he's coming back. You know what I mean? You don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a sales tip to beat all sales tips, how you get out of every single sale. You become an agreeable owl. You agree with everything the salesman says.
No, I'll tell you how to get out of any sale, and this is how they
Wait,
do
walk
it.
away.
Here's how they do it. Here's how they do it right here. You sit there, and you're sitting there for like 6 hours with this fucker, grinding it out to the last dollar. And now he wants fucking floor mats on top of it and a full tank of gas. Okay, so you say, "All right, Bob, look, I've had enough. Okay, there's been a sale going on all day. People have been buying cars left and right. And I've been in here with you making $50 on this mini commission because I got it spun from another guy who knew you weren't going to buy. So he gave it to me so he could take the real buyers because I'm new. So listen, Bob, are you ready to buy?" And he'll go, "Well, Jimmy, I've been here for 6 hours and I've wasted your time. I've drank your coffee. I smoked your cigarettes. But I really got to go ask my wife."
Oh, shit. That's a bomber.
It happens all the time, man. Or it's the opposite.
Yep.
"I got to talk to my husband." You know what you say whenever anybody says that? "Well, aren't you the decision maker?" the ego takes over. See, but see, I mean, these are all things you learn after experiencing the B-back bus and the "I got to talk to my wife." Because you're out there trying the B-back bus.
Yeah, you gotta love that stuff. You gotta love that stuff. It's funny. It's hilarious.
I should just do one whole show about selling cars because I mean every aspect of what you get taught to sell cars is like when you get in and the dude goes, hey man, listen, I'm going to have to drive the car off the lot. Okay, I'll let you drive it, but we just got her down the street here. Like, it's insurance. I got to pull it off the lot. So you get off the lot, and they adjust the seat back and the fucking mirror and shit. So when you get in, you're like, you adjust the seat, you adjust the mirror. Now you're taking mental ownership of the car. You know, you turn the stereo on, you start listening to your music and shit. You're just fucking driving along, man. The wind's in your hair. You're going, fuck yeah, man. I'm an owner. And then you come back to the lot, and then the guy goes, all right, Jimmy, let me have those keys back. And they take it back away from you. They gave it to you. They said, here it is. You can have it. But, took the keys back, and I'm going to go in and talk to the sales manager, see if we can work something out. You know, and that's where it all starts. The hours.
I wouldn't do very well in that business. I'd be like, dude, do you want to buy the car or not? Because I got real serious buyers waiting in line. What do you want?
You know that the guy
I wouldn't last long in a car lot.
I'll tell this quick story, but I'll make it quick. I won't give you too many details.
Okay.
So the guy that owned the nightclub that I worked for, he was an old car salesman. But he's a salesman. Like he used to sell literally tin siding on the side of people's houses. He'd sell meat full of freezers and shit. Freezers full of meat. Yeah. Seriously, they used to go across the Midwest, and you buy these freezers, they fill them with meat, and then you pay like $20 a month or something. He was one of these guys. Oh. But anyway, so when I was leaving the club, and I was going to go do other shit, and so I was going to go sell cars. So I said, "Hey, Bob, I'm going to sell cars." And he says, "Babe, let me tell you a story, babe." He said, the old man used to sell cars, babe. I don't know if you knew that, but the old man sold cars. And that's right. He said, and I used to stand out there in front with everybody, and we'd see the cars going by, and we'd say, I'll hit that guy with the Cadillac, and they pull up, and then, that's your customer. He said, well, old Bob was standing there, standing on the point, Jimmy drinking a cup of bad coffee, tossing my pen in the air, and I see this old man coming up with his jeans, he's ripped, he's got overalls on, just wandering around. None of the other salesmen want to talk to him, Jimmy, but old Bob saw something in his eye. I saw a gleam in his eye. So old Bob had to go over and talk to him. Well, turned out we talked all day until the dealership closed. And then we went to Denny's, and we sat there and we talked all night. And you know what? Never judge a book by its cover, Jimmy, when they come on the lot. Don't ever judge a man by his clothes, because this was a farmer who owned 10,000 acres, and he bought 100 pickup trucks off me that day.
That's sweet. That's real sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. You cannot do that with people. You have to have that discerning.
Yeah, you see, it's amazing. You never know.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful story.
The dude that comes rolling up with this fucking Rolex on and all this other shit, making a bunch of noise, was showing you how much money he has. If a dude is showing you how much money he has no money. Anybody with money, they ain't worried about showing you how much they got. They know they got it. They don't fucking give a fuck if you know.
Yep.
People wear just normal shit, man.
Yep. But I hear that. That's a very humble story. That's powerful. Yeah.
It was. It taught me a lot, though. I mean, he was a smart dude. I grew up in that club.
Yep.
I started working there when I was 17, and I stayed there till I was 28. So he was like a fucking father to me, that guy. Seriously.
Yeah.
He was a fucking
mentor.
Yeah, he was a kick-ass brother. All right, so listen, we got a cruise. Here's Toots and the
All right, have a great night, everybody. Be blessed, and remember, hold on to your joy.
Yeah. Here comes
Good night, everybody.
Toots and the Maytals. Hey, Danny, Mr. Rose coming back next Monday to do Mr. Rose Wild Ride. So if you want to hang, be sweet. Just let me know. I can't hear you. Hang on. Toots.
I'm gonna hang up.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay. Bye.
I sent him a birthday message.
Oh, cool. Right on. All right. Cool. Sweet. Bye. Okay. See you, everybody. We're out.
what they done for you.